When you get here, you realize how much is actually on the line for everybody.
Yes, we did it!
Having a shot to go for a championship would certainly be the pinnacle of my career.
Around to go, yes!
Everybody's pushing each other. Everybody understands what's on the line.
And the cars are starting to roll off of pit road and making their way onto this very flat half-mile track as we look at the first data starting grid. Up front, it will be Kyle Busch, Clint Bowyer, and Steve. Winning the pole is important, obviously, to start up front, but that #1 pit stall has to be huge as well.
Yeah, we see a couple other playoff contenders in row 3. That first pit stall, that's plus 5 or 6. We heard Jeff Burton say 15 cautions on average. That's a ton of pit stops. Pit road's so important.
A little bit further back in the field, you see Joey Logano, one of the playoff contenders, starting back in row 5, and Kevin Harvick back in row 6.
Yeah, and then you have Buscher, Alex Bowman. How about A.J. Allmendinger? This is his best oval. When you look at his numbers here, he consistently runs inside the top 10. No ride announced for next year. Maybe he can finally get that first oval win.
We had mentioned earlier that Martin Truex Jr., after failing post-qualifying inspections, will have to start near the back. But look at Chase Elliott, who starts in row 10, right in the middle of really that hornet's nest where we see so many accidents take place at this racetrack.
There's just nowhere to hide. You saw the highlights, the beating, the banging, the pushing, the shoving. It all happens here at the Paperclip.
And cars rolling out onto the track now. We will ride along with a few different drivers.
Yeah, one of the guys we got today is A.J. Allmendinger in the click list. Kroger click list camera. This camera should be on every car next year, hopefully. Bumper cam, one of my favorites. Great for this racetrack. You're going to see the bumper of them cars all day long. Then we got Kevin Harvick's Hunt Brothers pizza camera. He's going to have the foot cam so we can watch what he's doing with the brake and the gas all day long to see how he gets around this tough racetrack.
And Kyle Larson starting in 10th place. Got the first data camera on the roof. Some cool shots, and this one, door to door. Hope that thing stays on at the end of this race. And up on front row, Clint Bowyer starting second, Ford Performance cam. This camera's going to be able to move around a little bit. Again, a right side camera. Great shots today.
And it looks as though all the cars are making their way off of pit road. And Steve, talk us through the Mobil 1 track facts.
Well, we talked about it. It's 500 laps, just over 260 miles here at the smallest track in NASCAR circuit. 130 laps for both the first and the second stage. 240 laps in that final stage. They can go 150 to 160 on fuel, which you wouldn't think would come into play. But we have seen some crazy different ways to win this race. I wouldn't be shocked if somebody pits a long ways before the finish and just stays out with that track position, tries to play defense.
And right now pacing the field is the Chevrolet, and Team Chevy has commissioned the pink Camaro SS pace car for the race. They've done this for the 8th consecutive season. Chevrolet again supporting the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer campaign. And at this racetrack, you'll notice also the curbs are painted pink, as this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Coming down to the end. A few more updates before the green flag flies. Let's go back to Kelly.
Kurt Busch was just 26 years old when he won his first Cup championship. Now 40 years old. He admits that he didn't fully appreciate just how difficult that was to accomplish and how much hard work went into it. So to win a second one, well, he said that would mean the world to him, not just for himself, but also for his team, Stewart-Haas Racing, and manufacturer Ford. Kurt Busch, if he can get his 3rd Martinsville win, will be through to the championship 4. Parker?
And Kelly, every driver you'll see in this race that runs in the mid-pack is going to be asking themselves a question. Is it me or the equipment? Well, Eric Almirola has been given that chance this year, and he has found the answer. It has been the equipment. Now he is fighting for a championship from running in the mid-pack most of his career. He has an opportunity to make it to the championship 4. They have a good day to hear, Marty.
Parker, the trophy for winning here at Martinsville is a grandfather clock. Clint Bowyer got his first one here in the spring race this year. Now, drivers will usually keep those clock chimes on for a couple of months, and then they mute them after a while. Well, this week, Bowyer unmuted his grandfather clock. He told me, I wanted to be reminded of what I'm going after this week. I wanted to hear those chimes every hour. Clint Bowyer going for the Martinsville sweep, Dave.
Joey Logano will start 10th, Marty, in that 22 car. He finished 6th here in the March race. And when I talked to his crew chief, Todd Gordon, this morning, He said, yeah, we could have run third, maybe, but we did not have a car that could win. And so we've changed up our philosophy on running Martinsville. We'll talk about it later in the race today, but they're doing some things differently just to be better in the 22 and to try to win.
Trying something different. A little bit shocking because Logano has been so good, and that's why the people come out. They come out here to watch incredible racing, and it's been happening here for longer than any other track in the history of NASCAR. Martinsville Speedway, founded all the way back in 1947. The first Cup race was won by Red Byron back in 1949. It's the shortest track that NASCAR runs on, just over a half a mile. And as far as the winningest driver, there's nobody better than the king, Richard Petty. 15 wins at this racetrack. That crowd is probably here because of the return of Jesse Jones as the hot dog provider here at Martinsville. The Martinsville hot dog, almost as famous as the racetrack, that is called the Paperclip. What a great crowd on hand. Really, the weather has been spectacular this weekend, which is very, very good for Martinsville. They've been plagued with snow, they've been plagued with rain, but almost a perfect weekend here for the fans to come and enjoy racing.
Well, they have had a struggle with the weather, but they have not had a struggle with the racing. The short track racing here at Martinsville always is exciting. 500 laps, whether it's battling for the stages, battling for position, battling to advance. We have seen tempers flare. And it's just a close proximity. You talk about it being the smallest track. You know, we talk about speed. Michigan's so fast. Daytona, Talladega. Well, this is the slowest track, and I can assure the fans that the speed being down is what brings the excitement up. It allows these drivers to lean on one another, and that's accepted. You go down in there, Dale Jr. has said it before. I look in my mirror, I'm expected to get hit, get moved out of the way if I'm holding someone up.
And also expected to go door to door. That will happen quite often as well.
You can see the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. and you saw the 2 car briefly. You know, those cars had to work themselves to the back. NASCAR actually had to add a lap in these pace laps. It's so hard even just to get to the back. Everybody's doubled up, short racetrack. They actually had to add a lap to get these guys lined up where they were supposed to be.
They will have to start at the back after post-qualifying inspection failures, Marty.
And Rick, I think it's interesting that all these fast cars who legitimately have a shot to win the race today are starting in the back. Talking to Martin Truex Jr. about that, he said there's so many good cars back here that we can kind of set picks for each other and work our way through the field. Always fun and challenging for a driver, right, Jeff, when you're starting at the back and you have a quick car at Martinsville.
Oh, it's fun, but the problem is it too challenging? That's the question.
That's right. It can be real challenging starting in the back, especially this inside lane that you see Martin Truex Jr. in. There's going to be a lot of checkups down into turn 1 with those guys toward the back of the field. He's going to have to be careful not to get in the back of the guy in front of him, knock the radiator out of the car. It's really easily to do here.
The other thing they'll have to worry about being in the back, pole winner Kyle Busch, he has a clean track. He's going to be catching the back of this field rapidly, and that is about to happen. Pace car is off, coming out of turn 4, racing at the Paperclip. Martinsville Speedway, short track racing underway.
On the outside of Denny Hamlin. We talk about the inside being the preferred lane, but early on a restart, that outside will roll pretty well because you chop that car on the inside. He can't turn like he wants to. He can't use all the racetrack.
Cut tires also a story when they get so close. The splitter, the exhaust, different things can cut a tire, spin a car around. And these two continue to stay side by side. Denny Hamlin in the 11, Clint Boyer in the 14, fighting for second.
Yeah, you try to get in the throttle on corner exit, and you want to use as much throttle as you can, and sometimes you drive the car out into the left rear tire, just like this right here, almost making contact there.
And Clint shoved himself in front of his teammate Eric Almirola. That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to see that hole, you just got to turn left.
Eric tight on his bumper there, giving him a lot of pressure. Got to be careful to run that close to somebody this early in the race and build up, spike that brake temperature.
It's Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Clint Boyer, Eric Almirola, Kurt Busch, Ryan Blaney. Kyle Larson, Daniel Suarez, and Joey Logano. Kevin Harvick rounding out the top 10.
The most common balance issue is that loose on entry, trying to get into the brakes down in the corner, and if you cook those front brakes and get them too hot, they fade, and the rears work, and that's really the only thing you got getting in the corner and can really wheel hop the car loose into the corner there. So you got to be a little contact there with Blaney. Larson.
Saw Suarez hit the curb.
We're talking about that battle between Bowyer and Almirola. See right here, just that little bit of a gap. Clint Bowyer decided he was going to take it. Eric Almirola's teammates saw it happening. So Eric, instead of pushing the issue, kind of let off right there, let Bowyer in. That's something you won't see later in this race. I think right now this 42 car is faster than the 12 car. Watch right here. Kyle Larson's going to start to peak just a little bit, meaning he's going to show the 12 car Blaney that he wants that spot. Gets a good run on corner exit, runs out to the wall. Not the momentum he needs, but eventually if he ever gets that momentum, he's just going to get on the left side.
Yeah, you see
him he wants it.
You see him entering the corner just a little bit higher. He's trying to cross over in the center of the corner and get a run on corner exit underneath the 12 car. See him get in a little higher here, turn right here and try to get under him, but there's just no room there. He's trying to make that work, and he can make contact with the bumper on corner exit.
There, that was big.
Yeah.
That was big high exit.
Now he wants to turn low here and get a drive off underneath.
And now he's going to show it. Now he's going to stay to the left. Even though he's not there, he showed Blaney he wanted the spot. Blaney knew it and gave him the spot.
That's textbook right here at Martinsville. That's how you do it.
And Blaney was able to do that because he had a space to go. Joey Logano wasn't right behind him. Blaney saw that, went ahead, didn't give the fight to Larson, and took that spot, just rolled in behind him.
See it from a different point of view here. See how he arcs that entry, goes in wide, turns low, gets that lower, straighter run off. Now he's not really in position if Blaney wanted to defend that, but Blaney felt the pressure for a few laps and said, hey, I got to let this guy go. Dave?
Yeah, he knew absolutely that he could not hold off the 42 of Larson. He just radioed his crew. I am terrible. I have absolutely no drive off. Right there exiting the corner, he cannot hold anybody off.
Talked about the 78 and the 9 car of Chase Elliott having to go to the back. Chase Elliott working himself up to 16th. Just got by Ryan Newman. Good job so far.
Mark Truex Jr. taking his time here, trying to get through the back of this field, not moving up quite as quickly. Just taking his time. I mean, these guys are side by side in front of him. No, this has got a long race. This race is so long. And honestly, even though the leader is tracking faster and going to catch this, the back of the field, doesn't have to be in that big of a hurry because he's not running as hard as the leader. He's not pushing his tires as hard as the leader is back here in this pack.
We talked about Chase Elliott getting by the 31 of Ryan Newman. Well, he didn't really have to push his car very much to do it. Watch Ryan Newman. He turns left like he's going to go underneath Bowman, loses the back of the car. Chase Elliott just drives underneath him.
Bumps down into turn 3. That transition into the concrete. There's a lot of bumps driving down into turn 3 that gets those rear tires hopping. That rear brake system starts to hop into the corner.
And right in front of Ryan Newman, that 20 car of Eric Jones. What could have been. He didn't advance in this round of the playoffs, or last round of the playoffs, but he ran very well. He's got a lot of top 10s, been very, very competitive. This guy, had he been able to advance, he might be a contender to get to Homestead. 5.3 average finish for this team. A lot of momentum, just couldn't work themselves into playoffs. Disappointing for those guys.
Eric Jones holding on to the 17th spot. Chase Elliott just in front of him. And right behind Eric Jones, Ryan Newman, Ryan Newman has been announced that he will be moving to a different team in 2019, Roush Fenway. Martin Truex Jr. as well in the 78. He'll have to find new employment because Furniture Row Racing, who he drives for right now, they're going away at season's end, Marty.
And the Rick, the team trying to stay focused. I did talk to Cole Fern about that earlier this week. He said everybody who is on the road team will be at Furniture Row through the end of the year. So certainly good news for those guys. And look at that gaggle of cars trying to come from the back. But Junior, you mentioned a moment ago, Junior, they said they were going to have to be very patient coming through the field because, as Martin pointed out to me, 500 laps here at Martinsville, I need a car to work with at the end of this race. I can't just go move people out of the way. A little bit of patience involved here, even though they're trying to hurry through the field as best they can He's made his way up to 27th.
Yeah, he's already got a little bit of damage there on the right front as you see it. We zoom in there, but that doesn't bother me. I actually kind of like that because we've raced here before where we've lost fenders, and that's going to cool that right front tire. Actually could be a benefit to the 78 on the long run, keeping temperature out of that right front tire, keeping that front of that car rolling through the center of the corner. We'll see if that pays off later. Don't be too alarmed with that damage.
Yeah, I think Martin Truex Jr., he's got that two-car Keselowski behind him. I would imagine Keselowski's not really trying to pass Truex right now. They want to work together to work themselves up. So Keselowski's going to let Truex make the holes, and he's just going to go with him.
These battles continue back here. And earlier today, Hendrick Motorsports announced a new partnership with Ally Financial to be the primary sponsor for the Jimmy Johnson 48 team for all 36 races starting next year. We're thrilled to have them join other great partners in the sport and look forward to following the Ally Financial 48 team in 2019. Welcome, Ally Financial. Beautiful sunny day in Martinsville, Virginia. Our aerial coverage provided by Ally. NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can watch throughout the broadcast and select alternate camera angles, or you can even ride along with in-car video of your favorite drivers. Visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app today. Still out front, Kyle Busch has the lead. And for more on Kyle, we go to Dave.
He's got a couple of wins here, Rick, but it wasn't always that way for Kyle. He didn't always get this place. There were a lot of discussions that he had with teammates. One of the biggest was with that guy right behind him, Denny Hamlin, who knew this place so well and had success early in his career. Kyle credits Denny a lot, and now he's just trying to keep him behind him, Parker.
That might be a tall task, Dave, because Denny had told me before this race, when he got done with practice, this was the best car and best practice he's had in years. And with 5 wins here, you know he knows the field. He was just told on the radio before he caught Kyle, they're just wrapping the bottom. Keep doing your doing.
This is a tough situation to be in if you're Denny Hamlin, because you got a teammate who's, ooh, look at him do that. I'm a little surprised by that. Yeah. He just doesn't want to bother Kyle because Kyle's in the playoffs, but Kyle looks like either let him go by or wait, or maybe pointing him by.
Denny Hamlin's so good on the short tracks. Several wins here at Martinsville.
Wave.
Just a
wave
really good short track racer.
And he's running that line too, like that. Just there in 3 and 4, they ran that high entry and that low exit. That's such a good line for your drive off and keep the rear tires on the car on the long run, because you're basically taking the steering wheel out of the car on exit. When you're, when you're turning and trying to throttle up, you can spin those rear tires pretty easy. See, this line here is going to save those rear tires. Good long run line. That's what makes Denny so good here, is he moves around, changes his line to protect his tires.
And something we'll see from Bowyer all day long is just this. Bowyer likes to wrap that curve, likes his left side tires right on the curb. A lot of different driving styles. You see Kyle Busch, he sees it. He knows that Bowyer's a little bit quicker right now. Give that spot up. Don't fight. Wear your brakes out, wear your tires out. When a guy's a little quicker than you on lap 35, you won't see that as this race advances. But look at Clint Bowyer. Watch him. Watch what he does compared to that 11 car. 11 car is using a lot of racetrack. That high entry you were talking about never gets to the bottom, really. Clint Bowyer's wrapping the bottom, left side's on the curve.
What's unique about NASCAR is you can be eliminated from the playoffs, but you continue to race. So even though Denny Hamlin, who was in the playoffs earlier, is no longer in the playoffs, he's still fighting for something very important to him, which is he has had 12 straight seasons with at least 1 win. Well, in 2018, he has been winless. So he's still looking for that 1 win to keep that streak alive, to keep him going toward that ultimate goal of winning a championship. He won't have that this year, but he can keep the streak alive of consecutive seasons with a win.
And this is the track, it seems, Rick, that those non-playoff guys, we're down to 8 every year. It's in the same round. We're down to 8, right? So non-playoff guys tend to win this race. Dale Jr.'s done it before. Jeff Gordon did it back in 05 when he was eliminated from the playoffs. We have seen non-playoff drivers as 2 Stewart-Haas drivers battle here. You know, it's short track racing. I also think the playoff drivers, as much as a win advances them to Miami, there's so much to lose. It's the first race of this round, and it's just so easy to get impatient early. Remember, we're only 38 laps in. This is a 500 lap race.
Left side of your screen, you see the green boxes around the drivers that are currently in the playoffs. So Kyle Busch, Almirola, Kurt Busch, Logano, Harvick. Those drivers all still fighting to get into the championship four. Marty?
You know, Rick, it's funny, everybody this morning in the garage area talked about how good Denny Hamlin was on the long runs. Well, Clint Boyer told me, I think we're just as good on the long runs. I asked Boyer, said, hey, you a little nervous? He said, you know what? I am a little bit nervous, but that's fun. I like that. I like being nervous and saying we have to run well at this race. They feel like this is their best shot to advance to Miami. As he told me, the ticket window, Rick, is open. I'm planning on punching my ticket today.
And this is the first opportunity, the first race of the round of 8. This is the semifinal round. If you win here as a playoff contender, you advance to the championship round in Homestead, Miami.
You see this shot right here. This is going to be a factor all day long. Denny Hamlin has called Corey LaJoie and Bubba Wallace trying to put him a lap down. That's going to help Clint Boyer, but Clint Boyer has been watching Denny Hamlin and watching that line he's been running, and Clint's changed his line. Yeah, Junior, he's completely gone away from what we normally see from Clint and changed to what Denny's been doing.
Yeah, he seems to be kind of going back and forth between running his line that wraps that curve all the way into the corner, all the way through the center, to running that high entry and trying to do what Denny's doing right here. You see Denny kind of run high all the way through the corner. You give up entry speed, you give up center of the corner speed, but your drive off, you have so much more gas on corner exit here. You see him drive up on that 43 car on corner exit. Behind him.
And a problem in turn 2, the 51. As Jeff Burton behind the wheel got up into the wall in turn 2.
So we can come up their road. Let them back it down. Let them come around here. Let them come around and we can.
44 laps into 130 lap first stage.
Have to see, it was 43 green. Rick, let's come back and see. That's a long time on those brakes. We'll see. He's already up on the wall. Perhaps melted the bead in that right front tire.
Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. You saw the pit stop there for leader Denny Hamlin. He was just too loose. It was 4 Goodyear tires of Sunoco fuel. Dave.
Clint Boyer leaving pit road. His car a little bit too free on that run, Dave. An air pressure adjustment for those guys.
4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for Kyle Busch. He was first off pit road.
Steve, you talked about it. The importance of pit stall number 1. It can gain you multiple positions every pit stop. Well, 2 for Kyle Busch here. NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series. First day to 500 from Martinsville, Virginia on this Sunday afternoon. Wednesday night hockey, it is back November 7th with another star-studded doubleheader. First, Sidney Crosby leads the Penguins into D.C. to face Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals, followed by the Predators and the Avalanche from Colorado. That's Wednesday night hockey only on NBCSN. And it looks as though Kyle Busch will start on the inside, Joey Logano on the outside.
And that shot right before that, we saw the 88. Too fast on pit road for the 88 Alex Bowman. He'll be at the back of the field.
And coming back onto the front stretch in front of the grandstands, back to racing. Great restart for Joey Logano, trying to hang on the outside. Kyle Busch just too much, and he'll surge ahead.
I thought Joey Logano would just fall in behind Kyle Busch, rather. He eventually did. I saw him jump on the outside of him. I'm like, man, get on the bottom. But that was a good opening for Joey to fall into.
Ryan Blaney on that outside, making that outside look pretty competitive. Typically the bottom groove's really where you want to be, especially toward these front rows. But look at him breaking into the corner there, gaining a little bit on the 11.
The outside works pretty well on restarts. The air pressure's not up yet, so it puts a lot of stress on that front tire. The 11 car just does not turn on low air pressure. The 12 car up top, he doesn't have to turn his wheel as much.
That's right.
He's going to beat him off of turn 2 here. No, he's not. Hamlin with a good run off of 2.
With each corner, though, those pressures come up in that 11 car, and it gives him more and more opportunity to be able to take this spot back.
But Dale, each corner for that 12 car, he is abusing those rear tires, running the top of the racetrack with no one else up there. That took tire life out of this 12 to try to clear that 11 like that.
Good work by Blaney, knowing he had to make that happen quickly. Junior, you're exactly right. If you wait too long, if you can't make that move, it's going to get more difficult on that outside.
Yeah, with the inside line kind of having that accordion effect, sometimes it's tempting to jump to that outside. I think you might get a few guys, but you better get them quick, get back in line, get on that bottom groove as fast as you can, or you'll get trained by all those guys behind you.
Rick talked about the importance of pit road. We saw the 18 car gain 2 spots, pole sitter, #1 pit stall with a 78 of Martin Truex Jr. He's jammed in here on pit road at an angle, had a little trouble coming in. You see he's got to back up. The crew member has to step out of the way. Lost a couple spots on pit road to try to exit around the 21. All day, Rick, all day we're going to talk about that. And drivers, you know how 1 or 2 spots can put you in the wrong lane or behind the wrong guy. Takes a long time to gain those back on the racetrack.
Yeah, Martin Truex Jr. is right in between the 21 of Paul Menard and the 3 of Austin Dillon. And you know, the only thing he can hope for that will make it better is if one of those cars were to go a lap down. That's what he'd be looking for. Then he'd have an opening in or out.
Marty.
And Rick, that's the disadvantage of not making tech today. Again, Martin Truex Jr. had to start at the back. They also lost their pit stall selection. On the right-hand side of your screen, nice little battle between Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, and Clint Bowyer as well. Bowyer lost 3 spots there as he moves Blaney out of the way there to get that 4th position for the 14 car. He lost 3 spots because he slid too far in his stall, guys. So gonna have to watch these Stewart-Haas cars all day long on pit road.
We asked the playoff drivers this last week, what would you do to advance? And especially coming to a short track like Martinsville, would you move someone out of the way? And to a man, they all said, absolutely, we will move someone out of the way because this is an opportunity to get to the championship 4.
Well, Rick, they had 2 options: to tell you they were going to move somebody or lie and say they wouldn't. Because they're going to, there's no doubt.
Blaney's car struggling on these new tires. Saw the same thing in the first run with a 42 car, Kyle Larson, putting the pressure on him and getting by him. But eventually, this 12 car seems to come in and be able to take those spots back. And that's why he's trying so hard right now to hold these positions, because he knows that the car's going to get better.
We saw that exchange between Blaney and Bowyer. It really started back in 1 and 2. So right here, you see the 11 underneath the 12. Bowyer trying to fill that spot. Can't get the run he wants. He's like, man, I know I'm quicker. So he drives down into the 3. Thinks the 12 is going to give him the line. He doesn't. The 14's into the back of Blaney. Now Blaney's like, okay, I'm going to come back at you.
Yeah,
that's contact right there. And then
turn 1 and 2.
Blaney got in behind Bowyer right here. And I wondered how hard is this going to be? And he didn't hit him hard, just gave him a little bit of a shot.
And right back there in the mix is the 10 of Eric Almirola. Almirola's in the same position. He's fighting for every position on the racetrack, and he was another driver who we asked point blank, what would you do? Here's what he responded.
There's opportunity to move your competitor when necessary, and when it comes down to it and it's towards the end of the race and you need that spot, you want that spot, you're going to do whatever it takes. And if that's ruffling some feathers, then so be it.
That was as calm as you can say, I'm going to move him out of the way. If it's ruffling feathers, then so be it.
Well, I think this is the toughest situation you have right here. It's short track racing. There's pushing, there's shoving. Stewart-Haas car in the 10, Stewart-Haas car in the 41, Stewart-Haas car in the 4. They expect to race one another. They are not out here thinking, well, my teammates are just going to let me go. But what does Kurt Busch do right here? He looks better than the 10. He's on his bumper. How many times will he look left and pull back in line? At what point will Kurt Busch say, all right, bud, I know we're teammates, but I got to go. I'm racing for my sponsors. Right there, look like a little bump.
And we saw earlier with the graphics and the telemetry, they're going 60 miles an hour in the turn here, and they're within inches of each other without hitting each other. That's like going on an off-ramp. You're getting off the freeway, and you're going 60 miles an hour trying to make that turn, and you got to stay off the bumper of the guy in front of you.
Going 60 miles an hour.
Look at that, A.J. Allmendinger.
He hit him hard.
Ran in the back alley, just getting in the throttle so good. Much better than the 9 car there.
And you saw he just turned left on Chase Elliott down the back straightaway and said, look, man, I'm faster than you. I'm done messing around. I know you're racing in the playoffs, but I want that spot.
This is a place where AJ feels like he can come and make a difference. This is a driver's racetrack, and he's ran really good here over the past several years, and he feels like this is their opportunity to be able to come out of here with a top 10 or top 5. Kelly?
Remember, Chase Elliott in that 9 car is one of those playoff drivers that had a lot of ground to make up with, showing as having started this race 17th. He's 11th now. You know he wants to get into that top 10. Hey, guys, one thing that he said about his 9 car is that his handling is so different from the cars around him that it's making it very difficult in traffic. Can you explain?
Yeah, one of the things I'm interested in is the 9 car just running higher, but keeping the left sides in the rubber on the racetrack where most of the guys are running their rights. Interesting move there. May save the tire life of that left side, left rear tire.
But he opens the door up every corner to somebody driving underneath him. I'd be nervous about that.
Under 62 laps to go in stage 1 from the Paperclip. Caution just coming out, and it's for 7-time champion Jimmie Johnson. A 9-time winner at this racetrack, and here's what happens when you're fighting for position.
Is in beside the 20 of Eric Jones and just started wheel hopping. The car got away from him.
Yeah, you can see that right rear tire bouncing real bad, getting down in the corner and get those front brakes hot, and those rears are cooling well and doing well. You can see that left rear bounce pretty bad right there.
We see that a lot at this racetrack. Just underneath Eric Jones, wheel hopping. Now he's up the racetrack and got him all for the ride. Luckily, Eric Jones didn't get damaged. No one else behind him got damaged.
I'm impressed by Eric Jones, either hearing from his spotter or just telling the 48 was in trouble. He kind of chased up the racetrack and gave the 48 room.
Going pit here, Steve?
I wouldn't if I'm in the top 15, but of Martin Truex Jr. in 22nd, I'm coming to get tires. I think that's the only chance he has to drive up into the top 10 in these last 58 laps and try to score stage points. The concern being the number of tires. Only have 9 sets. We'll see. Looks like Jamie McMurray, Kyle Larson, 2 teammates from Chip Ganassi Racing, are the first 2 to come to pit road.
They were 17th and 18th on the racetrack. Ty Dillon also has decided to make his way to pit road, and a few others following after. You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Martinsville. That last caution brought out by the 48 of Jimmie Johnson. Marker?
And you guys had it right. He did describe having wheel hop, but he said maybe something that had allowed that to happen was a long brake pedal, which means you press it and it goes really far down, and therefore the car doesn't want to stop, and sometimes the rears grab a little too hard.
2x2 once again, and the preferred line on the inside, and that's where Kyle Busch, race leader, has chosen to restart. Crowds up on their feet as they get ready for the restart.
Contact almost there between the 11 and the 22 on the back straightaway. Logano trying to keep that position. These are old tires now. These guys have air pressure up. Don't have quite the drive off that they had before. They're trying to put that power down to be able to contest these spots. It's hard to get that power down with these older tires.
And Kurt Busch got a good run off turn 2 there to get in front of Blaney. That's a good thing because they are lined up on the bottom. And look at Chase Elliott, who's worked himself into the top 10, but he's got nowhere to go. He's going to have to make something happen here. It's just, he's going to have to hope that Ryan Newman makes a little mistake. Something happens. Maybe there's a hole behind Ryan Newman because they're lined up on the bottom.
Yeah, 9 car just barely got the fence a little bit there.
Good job getting in front of 31.
He squeezed right in there as Eddie DeHaan told him, take it, take it, take it.
Man, it's so intense. If you don't take that spot and push yourself, see Ryan Newman coming back at him. Chase Elliott, though, we saw earlier, he's been kind of running this upper line. I don't think that affects him as much as some other people. Ryan Newman driving underneath him. Most cars wouldn't be able to do that, but Chase has been up the racetrack anyway.
We continue to watch this battle up here. Back a little bit more. The 42, the first car off pit road with fresh tires and making them work. He has sliced through a couple cars, 2 and even 3 wide. And now look who is in front of him. The 78, the playoff driver of Martin Truex Jr., currently outside the top 10, running 17th. No stage points back there in 17th. And I've watched the 78 Rick push the issue a little bit. He knows these new tires are coming, Marty.
Restarted 24th for Kyle Larson. He's up to the 19th spot and trying to get around Truex. Yeah, they decided on the 78 not to pit Steve because they felt like the car was just coming in. They also wanted to stay on the same tire cycle as the leaders, but that 42 car pitted because they were way too tight, but making those new tires work.
And now it's just, we talk about patience. There's the 42, 2 wide. Is he going to force the issue 3 wide? Not this time. Looked like it was a little more challenging to get the power down than he was looking for, Rick. but he's going to be looking to the inside of this 78.
Yeah, Steve, I think it's so hard right now for Kyle Larson to be patient. There's nowhere to go. They're too wide in front of him. He's just going to have to wait this out for a little while. Too wide, 3 rows in front of him. So, but I think about, Junior, the position that Kyle Larson's in. You know, fast race car, good race team. We're not able to advance to the playoffs. Not a good year. He kind of voices frustration this week, but I think that makes Martinsville even more difficult for a driver that's had a disappointing year, because you're in the middle of this all day long and the frustrations run high.
Yeah, I think, too, he doesn't want to put one of the playoff contenders in a bad situation by going 3 wide here on Martin Truex Jr. It could be a reason for him being patient here. The 22 battling hard with Denny Hamlin for second. Kyle Busch just drove off from these guys. It's a great little battle between these 3.
And Denny Hamlin took that second spot away from Logano, so now Hamlin back up to second. Kyle Busch still leading, has a second lead. Logano back to third. Boyer and Blaney rounding out the top 5.
I get the sense that this 14 car, Clint Boyer, his strength is on long runs. In watching only 86 laps of this race so far, I just feel like the longer the runs go, the better Clint gets. It's going to be interesting to see if he can keep that up during this race, and if he can have enough speed to take off like he needs to.
Right now, that yellow and red 22 car, Joey Logano, is running pretty well. He's pretty happy with it. He radioed to his crew, just a little free in, a little loose off, and just a tick tight in the middle. Anytime you describe all the problems with just smallness, it's a good thing at Martinsville, Marty.
Hey, Dave, Jeff Burton gets an A on his paper, because that's exactly the story with Clint Boyer's race team. So much better on the long runs. His spotter, Brett Griffin, keeps saying, we're rolling the center so much better than these guys, but we can't pass anyone. Joey Logano moving a little bit there. But, Steve, how early as a crew chief do you start planning the end of this race, saying, hey, this looks like a track position race. We need to be in the right spot on that last stop?
Well, it's still a very, very long race. I think you start thinking about the final stage at the start of the final stage. It's well outside of a fuel window. I think what all these drivers are learning is that, you know, those new tires, while they are gaining a few positions on the 42, he's easily, you know, still stuck outside the top 15. It's not like there's real estate where he can drive through all these guys, but it's definitely a track position race, because you look how good these cars all drive. They're right around the curve.
41 laps to go in stage 1. And Martin Truex Jr., the only playoff driver currently outside the top 10. You can get NASCAR coverage when you're on the go with NASCAR Mobile. It's the official app of NASCAR. It puts race coverage and live in-car cameras right at your fingertips. Just search NASCAR in your app store or visit NASCAR.com/mobile. And because you got an A from Marty, we heard earlier, Jeff, you get to drive the Toyota Camry on-track car every week. Explain this.
Yeah, well, my mother was shocked when she heard I got an A, I can promise you. But you can see my right hand. Inside the car, all these cars have several brake adjusters. Some of them are levers, and this one I happen to have a knob. And we heard that report from Parker Kligerman, how Jimmy Johnson had a long pedal. And what that means is you push the brake pedal, and it travels further than you want it to, and that puts more brakes to the rear, because your fronts are the ones that have gotten too hot. So what you can do as a driver is start adjusting that brake bias, put more front brake to it as the run goes on, so you don't wheel hop it. That's something these drivers are going to do all day long. They're going to keep moving that, and then you have to remember, when the caution comes out, you got to run that back out and get the rear brake back into it. If not, you'll have way too much front brake when the restart happens.
Yeah, talking to Jimmy Johnson earlier this week, he told me on restarts they'll actually start with rear brake in the car to try to keep that temperature out of the fronts on that restart while you're in traffic, when the brake ducts can't get that air. These drivers have those tools, and they need to take care of that equipment all day here at Martinsville.
This is a 24-lap green flag run, and we're seeing already the 18 of Kyle Busch is back into traffic. The 10 of Eric Almirola trying to hold off Chase Elliott in the 9.
Chase running an extreme line here on entry, but he's got room behind him to be able to kind of move around and see what works. And he's been doing that for quite a while, running really high. That time he doesn't, of course, once I start talking about it. Parker.
Well, guys, I find that really interesting because that line that Chase Elliott was running was a line that Eric Almirola likes to run here at Martinsville. But after the spring race, he saw what Clint Boyer did. He actually looked at his data and talked to his team and said, you know what? He's been hugging that curve. I want to start doing that. And his team has been coaching him throughout this entire first stage. Stay on the bottom. Stay on the bottom. They're telling him the other cars are good on the bottom and not wanting to let him diamond like the 9 is, Kelly.
It's kind of hard to see, but on Chase Elliott and that 9 car right behind him, he's got a little bit of damage on that right side. It's around the wheel. He had a little bit of contact with the wall a handful of laps ago, but from what it sounds like, the team not too concerned about it just yet. Just another mark from Martinsville.
Yeah, Kelly, what you can see also is you saw that little bit of damage, nothing bad, but Chase Elliott has changed his approach. He tried the bottom. As you started talking, Junior, he went to the bottom. And now he hasn't left it. And the reason why is because since he did it, he's been putting pressure on Eric Almirola. It seems to be faster. Now he tries the top. Maybe not the best time to do it, though, because Kyle Larson is pulled up to him. You open that bottom up, somebody's going to fill it, and you won't be able to get back to the bottom.
Man, that high entry, though, is so fun because the corner exit can be so good if you time it just right. It's just real hard to hit it. Great thing about this racetrack, though, you can move around.
78 of Martin Truex Jr. is having a great recovery from the start of the race. Had to start at the back of the field. Currently plus 19 positions in the 12th position. Why does that matter? He's only a couple points out of the top 10. And just a reminder, at the end of both the first and the second stage, the top 10 will receive points, Rick. 10 points for winning the stage, 1 point for 10th. So while it sounds great to be up to 12, just a couple more positions, he not only will get some of those stage points, but start taking drivers like Chase Elliott, perhaps Eric Almirola, maybe even Kevin Harvick back a position inside that top 10.
And Marty, they've got to feel good about their progress.
Especially when you look at the left side of the screen, Rick, where they're now +1 in terms of the championship standings. Yes, coming from the back today, Truex has now gained 19 spots since the start of this race, and that patience paying off. You know, we wondered about Cole Pern making the call not to come down pit road. He really wanted to stay on the same cycle as these guys, and Martin doing a fantastic job and in position, as you guys mentioned, to get some stage points at 22 laps. Very impressive.
You see that 10 car has been putting up quite a battle trying to keep these guys behind him. Well, quite simply, look at the points. Right now, he's running well, but he's still 25 points out of where he needs to be, running in 9th spot. He cannot afford to give up any spots. You're not going to miss a thing. We are going to go nonstop.
Why didn't you book your family vacation on a travel site?
At Hilton.com, I get the price match guarantee, and I can choose from their 14 different hotel brands, so I get the right hotel for every member of my family. Like a DoubleTree for my cousins who love their warm chocolate chip cookies, a Homewood Suites for my uncle who likes a long stay, a Hampton for my sister and her kids.
That's a lot of syrup.
And the Waldorf Astoria Beverly Hills for me.
But I thought your family vacation was in Miami.
It is. I hear they're having a great time. Book at Hilton.com and get the Hilton price match guarantee. If you find a lower rate, we match it and give you 25% off that stay.
The demands are greater. The expectations higher. The jobs tougher. The world moves faster. So we made your truck even more capable with legendary Hemi power. No wonder more people are switching to Ram than ever before.
During Ram Power Days, get an average $10,017 in total values on the all-new 2019 Ram 1500.
Kevin here says Mobile One annual protection is proven to protect for 20,000 miles.
It'll save you a lot of time. Dad, with all this extra time...
Sorry, buddy. Kevin and I have a tea time at 11.
20,000 miles guaranteed. Mobile One annual protection.
McDonald's new Trick Treat Win game has 1 in 4 odds of winning instantly. So you won't really need luck. Don't miss your chance to win your share of over 100 million prizes. Trick Treat Win.
is Wednesday Night Hockey. Now settle in for the Sid and Obi show. And whenever they face off, offense always comes first. It's a Wednesday Night Hockey doubleheader on NBCSN.
What a goal by Harry Kane! Sergio Aguero does it again. He's in Brazil!
All rise for the Premier League this week on NBCSN and NBC.
Non-playoff driver and Virginia native Denny Hamlin out front at Martinsville again. Just completed the pass on Kyle Busch. You saw it on NASCAR Nonstop.
Action all over the racetrack.
Yeah, right in front of these guys. Eric Jones got a ton of damage to the left rear quarter panel. He's got to watch out. The 11 car doesn't want to get up near that. See, it's rubbing that left rear tire on the 20, but it shouldn't be too bad.
You say it shouldn't be too bad. Anytime you have tire rub or metal on a tire, you're not worried as a driver?
Nah, if it ain't blown yet. I mean, it's been bent for, 4 or 5 laps and hasn't cut the tire yet. So, gotta stay out there and hope that you can get a caution or something.
Steve, you talked about it, that 78 car, Martin Truex Jr. Well, he kept putting pressure on the 9 and Chase Elliott. Ended up getting by Chase Elliott. Good call on a long run, it appears. He kept digging away and actually ended up getting by the 10 as well. Now he's in 9th place.
Yeah, here's Eric Jones right here. A little replay of that. Let's get sideways and down here in turn 1. It's like Regan Smith really giving him the front bumper pretty hard there.
That's going to make it a little more difficult to fuel that as well now, because that was right there
too,
by the fuel cell.
That would be your concern right now is can you get fuel in that 20 car? And Denny Hamlin with 9 laps to go in this stage, I think he's just better than the 18. He kind of worked his way up there, was patient, found a way by in traffic, Kelly.
Few spots back there, you'll see the 41 of Kurt Busch, who's really been the model of consistency this season with 19 top 10s, and you could hear it in his pre-race message when he told the team, let's just be nice and smooth, hit our marks, gives ourselves a chance. He said essentially do everything we've been doing all season, just a little bit better. He could be better. He needs more right rear grip. Dave.
What a great race. And you see Ryan Newman there in the 31 car. He's moved his way up to 6th. Now, you remember when he was battling with playoff driver Chase Elliott a few laps ago? That was for 10th. So Newman on the move. And he promoted this race really well this week when he said the only thing you can get away with at Martinsville is being a little more violent. He's had to use a fender a couple of times to get there, but he's going to the front, Parker.
And Dave, with 7 to go, Eric Almirola has fallen back to 10th here as we come to the end of stage 1, and that is important, obviously, for the playoff, the point there in 10th position. Remember everything I said about him running the bottom and his team telling him to stay on the bottom? Well, scratch that. As he goes to the bottom there. He's been running the top and using that to his advantage and actually ran some lap times as fast as the leader, Marty.
Parker, the fastest car for the last 6 laps, Martin Truex Jr. Cole Pearn wasn't kidding this morning when he told me a long run will be the thing that helps us the most to be able to get to the front. He's done this on old tires. They last pitted at lap 45, 5 to go in the stage. They started at the rear, Rick, and they're going to get stage points here at Martinsville. That's impressive.
That was the goal, and it seems as though everything has been calculated. We've mentioned so many times emotions when you come to Martinsville. Not too many emotional moves yet at this racetrack. Everyone's been fairly polite and calculated with every move that they've made.
I wonder if Truex can actually get to Blaney right here. It's going to be hard with only 4 laps to go, but Truex is clearly faster.
Martin Truex Jr. has never won at a short track, and I'm sure that he's sick of hearing that statistic repeated over and over. But it is one that is factual, and the fact that he hasn't won is a big deal because he's won 19 times on other size racetracks, just not on short tracks.
You can see he just has better drive off, better entry speed, rolling speed, in the throttle better. It's just hard though once you get underneath a guy to be able to use that throttle on corner exit. Take him a little time here to work over Blaney. Blaney's going to give it to him on exit of 2 there.
One thing that he doesn't have, we talked about it earlier, what he's going to have to hope for is that, remember the pit trouble he had earlier? Well, if this thing goes on, continues like it is, well, the guys that are around him, they're still going to be on the lead lap, Paul Menard and Austin Dillon, so he's still going to have to battle having a good pit stop.
Denny Hamlin coming into 3 and 4 for the final time in stage 1. Looks to the outside of William Byron, but he will see the green and white checkered flag winning stage 1 at Martinsville. And Logano able to steal a spot from one of the big three, taking second away from Kyle Busch. Mentioned Denny Hamlin and the consecutive seasons that he has won a race. 2018, still searching for that first checkered flag. Well, he's won stage 1, the first step in getting that win today.
Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. Here we have pit stops underway. Denny Hamlin is your leader right now. He was frustrated how much the track was building up rubber and causing him to get tight. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires and air pressure adjustment and Sunoco fuel for Denny Hamlin. Trying to play playoff spoiler, Dave.
At the line, Joey Logano got an extra stage point over Kyle Busch there. They'll make an air pressure adjustment for a car that was handling a little ill and a little bit hot. As for Kyle Busch, he said, did he beat me? Man, not handling well right now is Kyle Busch. He'll get 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Still has that #1 pit stall as the crew finishes up. Will he gain that position back on Logano? He won't.
Logano and the 11 of Denny Hamlin were able to beat the 18 off of pit road. The 24, though, going the wrong direction on pit road. We talked about how tight that is.
Yeah, these pit boxes, they're only 28 feet long, 14 feet wide, very narrow. The 14 leaves. That's heavy damage to the right front of the 14, although the fender looks pretty good. Concerned it might have damaged some suspension parts. We'll have to just wait and see.
The NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series first day of 500. Continuing stage 1 is complete, and we mentioned you're going to see some bumping and banging on the racetrack. You're also going to see it on pit road. Let's investigate what has happened here to the 14 of Clint Boyer and what this damage looks like.
Yeah, this is heavy contact between the 14 and the 24. The 24 trying to enter his pit stall, the 14 leaving. But I'm shocked, guys. The right front corner of the 14 looks great. A little dent in the front, a little kink over the tire, but I was expecting much, much more damage on the 14 car. Let's listen in.
I said it looks like it's further forward on the nose. It doesn't look like it's anywhere near the tire where it's creating a rub. I think we're fine. From what I can tell, I don't see a hole even in the nose. I just see it caved in a little bit.
I think that's a pretty accurate diagnosis. You know, my only real concern would be as the run progresses or the race progresses, it looks like it might have broken the seam from the fender to the nose on that right front corner. So if he continues to hit people, it could become a problem. But I think right now it's a non-issue.
We talked about track position when this race started, and even on pit road it matters. A 78, he's surrounded by 2 people on pit road, but because he's running in front of them, it enables him to stop short in his pit box. That's huge because Paul Menard, even though he stopped short, gives the 78 enough room to get out. Track position matters. Him being in front of the guys he's near on pit road allowed him to position his car in his pit box where it needed to be.
Ryan Blaney had an uncontrolled tire on pit road. He was running 7th. He'll have to go to the back. And Steve, whose call is that, by the way, as far as when the 14 comes out of his stall? Does the crew chief tell him?
Yeah,
there's
normally the crew chief has to give you a couple pit stalls away, but I was surprised. He was a long ways out of his stall. I don't think he had any idea the 24 was pitting.
Field coming to the Geico restart zone. Stage 2 underway.
Interesting restart there. The 22, look how far out he is.
Maybe he got a jump.
I think there was some orders for the rest of the Gibbs guys back here. The 18 held back, letting that 11 have that position. Only thing I could think there created that strange restart.
Logano out front, Denny Hamlin running second, then the fight for third between brothers. Kyle Busch on the inside, Kurt Busch on the outside.
And that fight behind him, you see Clint Boyer. You know, after damage like he had on pit road as a driver, you want to feel that car. You're hoping that car still drives good. Right now, it looks to be no problem for the 14.
Jeff, you and Ward fought door-to-door at many racetracks. What's it like racing against your brother?
Not fun. It's just not fun. It's too easy to make a mistake. You're pushing so hard. Both of these guys are in the playoffs trying to work themselves to Miami with a chance to win the championship. And when you're doing that, it's easy to make a mistake, easy to get into your brother. Makes Thanksgiving no fun.
Right behind these guys, Martin Truex Jr. is working the inside of Ryan Newman. Got him up off the bottom, going to take that spot. Newman trying to work back to the inside in front of Kevin Harvick. Boy, that's a tough move, Jeff, especially pulling in front of Harvick, who's going for the playoffs here, trying to get to Homestead. I'm surprised Kevin didn't give the bumper to 31 because Kevin's got the 9 on his outside, boxing him into that bottom groove.
I think Kevin's approach to this race, remember where he is in the points. He's second in the points. If he leaves here with a decent day, he's still in good shape. He's not one to cause any issues.
I talked with Kevin earlier this week, and he mentioned that very thing. He said, you know, we've got a sizable lead in the point standings, and that's going to help us make the right decision when to be aggressive on the racetrack. Parker.
And guys, we watched Kevin Harvick there run just inside the top 10. He's kind of been there all day. It's been a little frustrating inside that car with the drive off. Just has not been able to hook up those rear tires on the X of the corners. And we talk about on the long run, the cars that can really hook up those rear tires move forward, and that's why he has not moved forward. He has just not been able to find a way to get those rear tires to hook up throughout the first part of this race.
Patience has to be there for the driver and the crew chief. This track is going to continue to change. We are not even 200 laps into a 500-lap race. I know it sounds like a broken record when you say it's going to change, but in my notes when I would come here, at lap 300, I would make a note to make a major adjustment to the race car, even if we were good, as we look at Kevin Harvick working his feet. You're going to watch him. This is part throttles. He doesn't really get wide open until almost all the way off the corner. Now watch him just a pump with the brake pedal, make sure it's there as he drives down into the corner, but it's going to continue to change.
And drivers, I see this strap to his heels. Those are for heat, right? There's so much heat on your heels, you want to make sure that they don't get too hot.
Yeah, this is a place where you definitely would wear some protection to keep that temperature out of the shoe and not get any blisters on your feet. A lot of brake temp coming in, a lot of brake temp and exhaust temp coming in through that floorboard. This is a place where you definitely need that protection. Take a look at this replay of the 41 Kurt Busch. 18 and the 41 of Kurt Busch, both getting by the 11. Denny maybe sitting here thinking, I got to pace it. I want to run. It's faster than this right now, faster than what you guys are doing. I'm here for the long haul, here to win this race. Give up a couple spots now, get them back in the long run when you have that drive off that they don't have because they didn't save their tires as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because he pulled over hard enough to let both of them go by. Wasn't just letting his teammate go by.
So Logano's out front, and then it's Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch. You mentioned the brothers racing each other. Kyle Busch just in front of older brother Kurt Busch. Here's what he had to say about racing against his brother.
You know, with the way you don't know who's going to be there running you down, or you don't know if you're going to be chasing that guy down. I would love the chance to have a run at my little brother or have him running me down. That would be the guy that I would least want, but at the same time, he'd be the one I would pick to race against.
It's so hard to race against your brother. You take a lot of pride as a family. Look at what we're doing. 2 champions from the same family. That's very difficult to do, as you know. But it's just so difficult when you're racing against somebody that you love and you care about, because you got to be selfish.
Yeah.
You got to want what's best for you and your team.
Those guys have been racing against each other though, since they were kids. I mean, at the Las Vegas Bull Ring, they ran Legends cars together, so they've raced against each other on several occasions throughout their lives. Probably know each other better than they know anyone else in the field.
Dave.
Rick, I want to ask Dale Jr. a question about the 22's philosophy here. So, Junior, if something was working so well for you at a track and you were very happy with your race car, 3 weeks before an important race, the crew chief comes to you and says, we're going to change things up. You have a lot of questions. You have a lot of concerns, right? So that's exactly what happened. Joe Logano discussed a lot what they were going to do here. Todd Gordon said, I think we need to make some changes in philosophy so that we run better over the longer run. Remember, they did not light up the practice sheet. He only qualified 10th. But by the end of the first stage, Logano was running in second. And, Junior, I just know that for a driver, that must be really hard to accept. Hey, we're going to do it way different, but I think it'll be better.
Yeah, I mean, every time you come to this racetrack, you're never going to use the same setup. It's not going to always work repeatedly. And if you aren't good on the long run, it's so critical to have that that turn and that drive off on corner exit on the long run. It's so critical to have it. You have to keep working to find it. Keep making adjustments till you get there.
Logano a 9/10 of a second lead over Kyle Busch. Let's take a quick break as we step away for a moment. Stick around as Coca-Cola shows you how to make one of the best race day eats in Virginia. Coming up on Race Day Fuel. And look at the parking lots outside of Martinsville Speedway. Today's aerial coverage provided by Ally, and we want to welcome Ally into the NASCAR family. Big announcement, them joining the 48 team in 2019 and 2020. Well, today only you can get 10 extra chances to win a fan-built Chevy, Ford, or Toyota truck. All you have to do is head to NASCAR.com/playoffs promo and enter promo code Paperclip. That will unlock your entries now. Again, don't wait to enter. That's promo code Paperclip. And there is the Paperclip. Martinsville Speedway, very long straightaways and very tight radius turns at opposite ends. Drivers have called it 2 drag strips that they have to make a hard left-hand turn at the end of.
Rick, we have Joey Logano pacing the field, and his lead has slowly been whittled away by the 18. We're starting to get to the point in the race. Every Martinsville race has a long run, and these stages, even though they break the race up, they're still 130 laps long, 27 laps on this run right here. It would definitely not shock me to see 100 or 120 lap green flag run. So Kelly, these drivers really have to take care of their equipment.
They do. That's certainly one of the keys that Kurt Busch talked to me about before the race. He has 2 wins here at Martinsville, but he admitted to me that this place is still difficult for him. He said both his wins came because he didn't have a mark on his car still with about 100 laps to go, so then he was really able to push it at the end of the race. He said the other key is keeping up with the trends of the track. You can't worry about if your car is loose or tight right now. You got to worry about where it's going to be in another 60 or so laps. And for Kurt, this race, forward drive has been his biggest issue. Marty?
Well, frustration for Clint Boyer. We saw the damage on pit road earlier, the contact with William Byron, that right front damage. Boyer said, hey, if we don't have to, I'm not coming down pit road because it's so hard to pass out here on the track. Boyer so much better on the long runs, but you see it here. He's given up a ton of time here early in the run. Martin Truex Jr. continues his impressive march. Started at the back of the field, right now in the 6th spot for Martin Truex Jr., who told me before the race we get better every time we come to Martinsville. Could this be the first short track win ever for Martin Truex Jr.? He's got a pretty good car right now, Parker.
Marty, for the 4 of Kevin Harvick, has been pretty status quo, running in 9th position right now. Speaking to Rodney Chose before the race, he told me they come out here to win. They're not focused on the points in this first race, and they focus on just winning. He said, you know, the only time we'll maybe point race is when we go into Phoenix with a 40-point lead, and therefore we know we just need a solid race. Right now, still struggling that drive off. But Steve, I think you hit the nail on the head on saying don't sleep on a car like Kevin Harvick right now, who's been sitting in 9th, because to me, that means he's just waiting for this track to change, and they make the right adjustments. He could be a threat at the end of this.
So Eric Almirola kind of falling back to the field, now down at 12th. You see A.J. Allmendinger putting some pressure on him to move him back into 13th. A.J. just struggling with his car.
And riding right on the bumper of A.J. Allmendinger. We see how close he was to that curb, and here's more close racing.
Man, look at that.
And into the side of the 14 and then into the curb. So Martin Truex Jr. trying to get by the 14. The 14 pinching him down. There was a little contact, and then the 78 even hit the curb.
And to hope that the 14 doesn't get any damage to his tire there with that kind of contact to the left rear tire. Looks like he's going to be okay, but also banging the right front tire into the doors, another car can knock the toe off a little bit on that 78. So it's a pretty good contact for both those guys.
Right behind Clint Boyer, we see the 31 of Ryan Newman. Rick, it was announced he's going to go drive for Roush Fenway next year. Currently his 5th year at RCR. This relationship's going to end at the end of this season. A great run for the 31 inside the top 10. Just has not been the season they've been looking for out of the 31. This is a car that has made the playoffs in the past. Never really contended as a chance to make the playoffs this year, Marty.
And guys, Martin Truex Jr. came on the radio after that pass of the 14 car, said, I don't think he knew I was there. He just didn't know I was there, and that's why he came down as the battle of the lead is heating up a little bit. But right now on the 14 team, you get the sense, Jeff, everybody trying to hit the calm button, right? This is the team that can kind of get excited at times, trying to keep the nerves calm in the 14 camp.
Well, worst case scenario for them. 22 car leading the race. If he were to win this race, that puts a tremendous amount of pressure. It makes it that much harder to get to Miami. So having a little bit of trouble after problems on pit road, a car that you don't want to see win, lead the race, that's what Martinsville's about. The pressure mounts as the race moves on.
There are only 4 spots in Homestead, Miami that are available. 3 different winners could come out of the 3 races in the round of 8. Everybody that wins has a guaranteed spot. Then that 4th position would be points, and that would be the only way to advance into that 4th position. So those positions will dwindle as we continue on through this round.
Well, Rick, the car I've been watching this entire run, the 11 of Denny Hamlin. We talk about the length of this race. We talked about it at the Open. 500 laps. We're 179 laps in. Denny Hamlin, he is almost on cruise control running in the 4th position. He doesn't look like he wants to go to the lead. This 5-time winner knows how to save equipment, stay out of issues like this. Don't bang fenders, don't cut tires, be around when it matters most at the end of the race.
You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Martinsville. Joe Logano still out front. Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Martin Truex Jr. The top 5 here at Martinsville. Let's take a look at some Outback curbside takeaways from the Paperclip. Drivers who led the most laps has not won a playoff race this season. Well, that doesn't look good for Kyle Busch. Right now, he's led the most laps, although he isn't out front. 5 career wins by drivers who won races in the round of 12. That's Chase Elliott, Eric Almirola. They only have 5 career wins between the 2 of them. They won every race in the last round. And the big 3 1 playoff win this season, that's Kyle Busch back at Richmond. Now, if Kevin Harvick places in the top 10 today, you get a free Bloomin' Onion with purchase on Bloomin' Monday.
Oh, man. Bloomin' Onion, Rick. You're right. That's right up my alley.
A little bit hungry, maybe?
I'll tell you. Bloomin' Onion sounds good.
You're looking at the leaders over there on the left side. Joe Logano has just lapped Kyle Larson. He's drawing up on that 12 car of Ryan Blaney to try to put him a lap down. Blaney, a car that was actually running the top 10, had good speed early in the race, struggling right here.
It shows you the importance of track position. Blaney lost his track position with that penalty, and now is back in the pack, and there's no forgiveness. If your car is struggling a little bit and you restart 10th, it takes a long time before the leader gets to you. But when you struggle and you'll restart in the back, the leader's right on you very quickly to put your lap down.
And on the right side of the screen, got Kurt Busch and Hamlin there battling for 3rd and 4th, and behind them you see 78 of Truex, who has drove from the back of the field, 33rd starting position, slowly but surely, a little bit at a time, working his way toward the front. One of the best cars on the racetrack. I'm telling you, I think that little hole in the nose, keeping that right front tire happy, keeping it cool, keeping this car turning on the long run.
And Junior, I don't think Martin knows about that little hole helping out that right front tire, but the one thing that they have noticed is all the rubber that's laying down on the racetrack. So Martin has moved his line up just a little bit like everybody else, and he can kind of cut down. You talk about all the different lines here at Martinsville. That's one that Truex has noticed. Where that rubber is, that's where he is. Not on the bottom of the track, but it's working for that 78.
When you think about Martinsville being a half-mile racetrack, one groove is what everybody thinks, but it's not. And so with this shot, it's so awesome because you can see what people are doing differently. See the 41 car drives in the corner, left sides, right on the curb. The 11 car of Hamlin, he never gets to the curb till the far corner exit. So driving style matters, and you have to adjust based on the cars around you, but also how your car is driving. You go into this race saying, I'm only going to drive this way, you might miss something and give up some speed.
Yeah, there's something about that high entry that the 11 car tries. I always wondered, we always burned the left rear tire off on the long run here, and I wonder if not only driving off low and straight on corner exit, but keeping the left sides in that rubber that rubber groove there that the Wrights put down, I wonder if that actually helps tire life for that left side tire a little bit throughout the run. Because on the brakes, you're also beating that left rear tire up, dragging it into the corner.
It always made me nervous with that high entry. We saw Jimmy Johnson wheel hop it a little while ago and get loose and spin out. That high entry makes that a little more susceptible. If you do have any wheel hop at all, you're a little bit loose on corner entry, that high entry always was difficult for me to make that work. You know, a guy that moves around all day long at our races is Parker. Where are you now?
I have moved around. I'm now in turn 3, and this is one of the coolest spots at Martinsville Speedway because you can kind of see the cars come into the braking zone of turn 3 right there behind to my left, and then they go into the corner. As you guys were talking about, you can see how much rubber is laying down on the concrete here, and you can see the difference between some good cars and some bad cars. Bad cars that aren't handling well, you'll see a ton of wheel in the center of the corner. But then some of the good cars, you'll see that wheel straighter, and you'll see them move their line around. But the craziest part of me about that rubber is that right in the middle there, it's almost hard to decipher what's concrete and what's asphalt because so much rubber is laid down the racetrack.
You know, Parker, I think that rubber has something to do with the different lines that we talked about as well. If we get this long run that we've seen at this racetrack so many times, you're going to continue to see that rubber buildup get worse and worse. And then you may have to start straddling it. You may have to try to run below it, try to run above it. It builds up in different places at this racetrack, and the drivers will have to adjust for that. And many times, you'll run across it, Junior, and it feels like your tires just blew out, like you ran on ice or something. And you start feeling that, then you realize it is that rubber buildup, and you got to start changing your line. Dave.
So, Jeff, you know, passing cars on the track is one way to get to the front. Another way is to pass cars on pit road. You're looking at Graham Stoddard. He's the new Jackman on the 22 team this week. When Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney were eliminated from competition in the playoffs last week, Stoddard, working on the 12 car for Blaney, was picked up for this 22 team. He was just a little bit quicker at being both a Jackman and a tire carrier. Remember now, with fewer people over pit wall, they've got to do some multiple jobs. Graham was a tire carrier who learned how to be a Jackman. And crew chief Todd Gordon told me that was a little bit better right now than their Jackman who had learned how to carry tires.
And Dave, one of the things that the fact that they only have one car in the field now, or the playoffs, that gives them that opportunity. Look at Stewart-Haas Racing. They have 4 cars in the playoffs. They can't move men around. They can't move pit crew members around because all of them are still working on their respective teams to try to get their car to advance.
It's hard to believe that success could actually hurt your chances moving forward, but a cautionary tale for the playoff cars. The 12 of Ryan Blaney was really good in practice, really good to start this race. He ran the entire first chunk of this race inside the top 10, but the last time on pit road had a penalty, had to go to the back of the field. Currently 25th on the lap down. This is a good car, been good all weekend long, cannot recover from a penalty.
Talking about the pit crews can't really, switch guys around at Stewart-Haas because they got so many guys in the playoffs. They need to work on the race cars a little bit right here because Clint Boyer's under heavy pressure from Chase Elliott. This puts Clint Boyer back in 8th place if Chase makes this pass. Behind him is teammate Kevin Harvick in 9th. Eric Almirola all the way back to 13th. Only Kurt Busch in the top 5. So these guys not having the day I thought they would. Clint Boyer, we thought, was one of the best cars in practice, struggling right now.
I think for Clint and his team, they need to take a step back and not necessarily say we're struggling because of that pit road damage. I think that's what's difficult for them. Is that affected it, or is the track changing? Because 2 of your teammates rather, they're not running well either, Marty.
And Jeff, we talked about that with this race team. Mike Ravitch doing the best he can. Brett Griffin is trying to keep Clint calm inside the race car. He is really struggling with loose on entry and loose through the center. He has been really having a tough time with it on that run, and that's kind of where they were good in the first part of it. So, Steve, you talked about making big changes throughout this race. They've made a couple changes on the 14 car, but struggling with the handling right now.
You have to get ahead of the track. You cannot keep playing catch-up, Rick.
We've seen the Peacock on the side of numerous cars. Visit NBCSports.com/NASCAR Suite and enter to win 2 tickets to the championship race at Miami, as well as one of these side panels that will be autographed by some of your favorite NASCAR on NBC team members. There's a Martin Truex Jr. fan that's cheering him on. He's still chasing after the 22 of Joey Logano. Though Logano still has an 0.8 of a second lead and continuing to put cars a lap down. Now this is the longest run, 75 laps of green flag racing, and Suarez is the first car a lap down, running 19th. Alex Bowman running 18th and the last car on the lead lap. Let's get a few updates. We go to Parker.
It starts with Denny Hamlin there in fourth place. You know, he's led 31 laps, but this run has not been great for him. You know, in the last run that he actually took the lead, it was in the long run that his car really worked the best. But over the course of this run, he says he's just starting to get tight in the center and losing that drive off. And Steve, I know I heard you say that basically you thought maybe he was holding back. Well, just in the last couple of laps, he's starting to turn some great lap times. You see him drive by Kurt there, Kelly.
All right, really solid race for A.J. Allmendinger, who always seems to shine here at Martinsville. It was announced he would not be returning to JTG Doherty Racing, and he told me today that he doesn't look at these last 4 races of the season as an audition or anything, but he acknowledges they could be his last 4 NASCAR races ever. Said maybe not, I don't know. He's just always trying to be at his best, he said, for himself and for the guys on his race team. He said whatever happens, happens from here. He has a car that seems to come to him over a long green flag run, Dave.
Ty Dillon staying out of silly season, told his team a few weeks ago, no, I'm staying for sure in this car, and it's a good thing. Remember that black line that Parker showed us where the rubber's building up in the track? They told Ty, that's where the leaders are running well. Stay in the black. Right now, Ty is running 15th, Marty.
First car 1 lap down is Daniel Suarez. The weekend started promising. He qualified 8th, but they have been struggling with a very loose race car. I had a chance to catch up with Daniel this morning. Of course, a lot of the talk about what's going to happen in 2019 for Daniel Suarez. He told me no news to report yet, but we're getting close, and I hope to have an announcement very soon. He told me, quote, I'm very happy about what's going to happen next year, really excited about it. So some news coming very soon for Daniel Suarez, Rick.
That's great news. I mean, there's so many drivers changing positions, teams closing down, drivers retiring at the end of the year. It's hard to keep up with where everyone is headed.
So your replay here for the 78 car coming up off the corner on the inside of Rick Stenhouse Jr. and he gets in his door. Man, Truex is just taking so many chances out there. Had a lot of contact today for a guy who is trying to keep it clean in this playoff situation that he's in, but he's driving through the field, really putting some pressure on Kurt Busch right now for 4th place. Driving hard, man. Like he's possessed.
Remember, he's never won a short track race.
I think he's tired of hearing us say that.
I know he is.
Yep.
He's a good short track racer. He just, he obviously, or is not great at it, but he's good at it. He runs well. Ran pretty decent here in the spring.
Well, and you have to remember, guys, that he hasn't won on a short track in the Cup Series, but in all the series that he's raced at coming up, that's where he was running most of his races, at the short tracks, coming through the K&N Pro Series or even through Xfinity Series. He had great success at all racetracks, but he just hasn't been able to find victory lane in the Cup Series yet on a short track.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, we don't run a lot of short tracks. There's only, considering whatever you think a short track is, I think Richmond, Bristol, and Martinsville, the only opportunities he has to win those races, and hard to do. It's hard to race. It's a hard race to win. You can have a great car at a mile and a half. You can kind of get spread out a little bit, take care of yourself. Here, you can't really take care of yourself. You see already all the contact and stuff that he's gotten himself into or been involved in with other cars.
And you and I never won road course races. And everybody knows we were great at it.
Amazing. Yeah, very good.
I'm glad that you reminded us of that. That's the information that I'm sure. Well, look at this. You're not supposed to leave pit road with equipment, especially a jack. And that's what Timmy Hill had just done. You're watching NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing. It's the first day to 500 for Martinsville Speedway. Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs will head to the Lone Star State next weekend, and nobody puts on a show quite like Texas Motor Speedway. It's race 2 of the round of 8. Pressure mounting to advance to the championship for NASCAR.com/tickets if you want to join us in Texas next weekend. Just moments ago, the 3 of Austin Dillon got up out of the groove and almost into the wall.
Yeah, Austin was running 10th place when this happened, 11th place. Melted the right front bead. You see him go up the track. Luckily for him, stayed out of the fence and was able to get the pit road. And that can happen for several reasons, obviously. You can create a lot of heat in the brakes by running in traffic or just by running. Oh, look, we got another car here on the front straightaway, 95. Having trouble. Regan Smith.
But with 25 laps to go, his right sides are up, but with 25 laps to go in this stage, this is worry time for everybody. You just saw a good car melt the right front bead. It makes everybody concerned that this could happen to you as well.
You're doing all you can do.
What are you telling your driver now, Steve, this late into this run?
Well, now it's about survival. It's 24 laps to go. Understand how hard you pushed your equipment, and if you feel like you have any brake feed, let a spot go. You know, don't push the car to the point of failure. We have to finish these laps. You have to finish to gain points. You know, a point seems important until you're on pit road losing multiple laps here at a short track.
I was going to say, you can create heat there, but you can also have a cooling, like not enough cooling. We've talked about that before, Letarte, where you just don't take, you can only cool so many things. So being able to cool the brakes plus the bead, got to be able to have enough hoses up there to do that.
And 3 back on pit road.
Yeah, we're hearing that perhaps they have some suspension damage or something, Marty.
And he's coming in. They do think they drug off the right front sway bar arm for the 3 car. He said something is wrong. So they're going to pop the hood here, go underneath, see what they can find. But they do think it's a sway bar arm on the right front. They do think also it was a melted bead on that right front earlier for Austin Dillon as well. So a lot happened here at the end of stage 2.
Sway bar arm is basically just a part of the suspension, connects the sway bar to the lower control arm. But remember, no interliners, Rick. So when that tire goes flat, you're on the wheel riding lower than you would at an intermediate track. That puts that piece of steel on the racetrack, and just like a grinder, grinds the metal away until it wears through.
One of the Chase drivers running in the 7th position, the 9 of Chase Elliott. Kelly?
Yeah, it's been a busy weekend for the Gasman on the 9 car. John Giannotto left his mark in the Guinness Book of World Records yesterday for fueling the most cars ever in an hour. It was 148 regular street cars. They weren't race cars. He did that up in Queens, New York yesterday. So congratulations to him. I think he admitted he was a little bit sore after all that work he did yesterday. And I'll tell you, I hate going to the gas station. If I could get 148 fuels done in 1 hour, man, that's something else.
Where is he? 104. I mean, that's my kind of guy.
I would have liked to have been one of the cars that he would have fueled up.
John's a great guy. Super strong, powerful. The day he showed up at Hendrick Motorsports, all the crew chief's eyes kind of lit up. We need to get him on my team. It was a little bit of a draft war to figure where he would end up. Allen obviously won.
Only 18 laps to go in stage 2. You're not going to miss a thing as we'll go NASCAR nonstop. Multiple playoff drivers in the top 10.
Bear hugging in a bulky jacket. Bear hugging in the Duluth Fire Hose Lumberjack. The Duluth Trading Fire Hose Lumberjack. Get limber, get jacked, get lumberjacked. Only at Duluth stores and DuluthTrading.com.
Your microwave doesn't need another frozen meal, and neither do you. Only Carl's Jr. and Hardee's bring the heat with a variety of full-flavored all-star meals starting at $5. Get a real meal, paid for by Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done? We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound, just watch old bandit run.
Whatever party you got going in the back, we got the business up front.
What's the secret to a great steak at home? Ordering it from Outback. Easily enjoy all your favorites when you order Outback delivery or curbside takeaway right now. Outback Steakhouse, Aussie rules.
Wow.
Bank of America gives Rachel the power to stay on top of her money, so she's ready to make moves.
Think you can get this place?
Really hope so. Erica, what's my credit score?
Your FICO score is 705.
That's good, right? Let me see. I think so.
Just talk, type, or tap to find better money habits, know-how, and more with Erica, your virtual financial assistant, only from Bank of America.
It's a moment the Vikings will always remember.
It's a Minneapolis miracle!
And one the Saints will never forget. All eyes on the rematch. All eyes on Saints-Vikings on Sunday Night Football.
This is Wednesday Night Hockey. Now settle in for the Sid and Obi Show. And whenever they face off, offense always comes first. It's a Wednesday Night Hockey doubleheader on NBCSN.
Make sure to tune in on Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern, to the Morning Drive with the Bagman and Pete Pistone. That's NASCAR Radio Channel 90. Parker Kligerman's going to join them from the NBC Sports crew on Sirius XM. Again, that's Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Eastern for the Morning Drive. And Parker Kligerman. Joey Logano has a 6/10 of a lead with under 9 laps to go now. You have made a prediction. You believe that the 11 is going to be able to catch him in passage. Steve, is that right?
I do. I see two Stewart-Haas Racing teammates here battling right in front of the leaders, but that 11, the FedEx driver, he's won here 5 times because he understands the long run. He's been patient. He hasn't slipped the tire. He hasn't heated up the brakes, and it shows as he closes to the bumper of the 22. You know, look at the 22. He knows the 11's coming. That 11 of Denny Hamlin turns the middle of the corner, guys, so good.
Hey, somebody else who knows that 22 is coming is that 4-car Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick is in serious danger going a lap down right here. He has been struggling the last 15 laps, Parker.
Guys, you see Jimmy Johnson right there trying to hold on to the lead lap. 1, it's a great comeback from spinning out earlier, but 2, he was instructed to hold off that 22 at all costs to stay on the lead lap here. This is a heck of a battle.
And this is for not only lead lap, but also the race. The stage 2 victory. Here comes the 11 moving to the outside. And the 22 dives to the inside of the 4, trying to put Kevin Harvick a lap down. Got on the curb there. You saw it at Denny Hamlin.
The problem for Harvick is if he can hold him right here, that'll be great. Get that lucky dog, but he doesn't want him to go up there and be able to lap that 48 or anyone else. Because Harvick would love to at least get the wave around or the lucky dog if he can.
Now Logano sets his sights on the 48 again. The 48 trying to be impossible to get around. The bumper to the back of the 48 from Logano.
Here comes Hamlin.
4 laps to go.
Best thing Kevin Harvick could do, Steve, is for that 11 to catch the 22 and let that battle happen and let the 48 get going.
Yeah, the 48 is actually, remember, he spun out earlier. He's not having a bad recovery inside the top 15 from being backwards a little bit earlier. Good run on the 11. Which lane's he going to take? Is he going to look below the 22? He is.
He is.
And here comes Denny Hamlin. Can he complete the pass?
Denny's able to be that aggressive with his car because he's taken such good care of it over this entire run here. When he needs the brakes, when he needs the charge, they're there.
Logano trying to jump up on the outside of the 48. I think he's going to get there. Can he get a good enough run off the corner? That's an impressive move to trust your car enough to even try to go to the outside.
Less than 2 laps to go in the end of stage 2.
Look at this. If Logano could carry enough speed and exit with the 48, he'll have a shot at him.
And maybe a little bumper there from the 11 as they come out of the turn. 1 lap to go. A half a car length separating the top 2. Down the backstretch for the final time in stage 2. Who will have the best exit off of turn 4? Logano on the outside. Hamlin on the inside. It's going to go to Logano.
That was fun.
Was Harvick was able to hang on to be the first car 1 lap down to get the wave around.
If I'm another crew chief, I'm instantly looking at the lap times of the 11. Over that entire long run, what did he do? Did he save his car? How did he make that charge at the end?
128 laps led by Joey Logano so far of the 260 that have been completed.
Down a dream that never would come to me. Working
road is open. Joey Logano will lead all of the lead lap cars onto pit road. The second one in line is Denny Hamlin coming right to you, Parker.
And he was so close to winning that stage side by side at the line. He went through a long litany of problems throughout that car between the short run and the long run and what he wanted fixed. But he said, don't take too much or add too much to the short run and take away from my long run. So we'll see what kind of adjustments they make here. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires to no-go fuel, Dave.
Middle of your screen with that stage win. 19 stage points for Joey Logano. No one can take those away from him. Right now, he needs just a little bit of an adjustment on the race car. It really is balanced well where he likes it. Kyle Busch, on the other hand, not so much. They're going to make a big change here for Kyle. They said we need to do it to keep up with the 11 and obviously the 22. He wants to be like Denny because he saw Denny go by him and he knows what Denny's running under the car. Pit stop finishing up. Here's the race off pit road, Rick.
Race off pit road brought to you by Kroger Click List, and Logano looking strong, able to hang on to that pit position. Logano, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. Look at that. Everyone holding their spots as they come off of pit road. Brad Keselowski gained a couple positions on pit road. And as we have completed the second stage, let's go to the Peacock pit box and check in with Chris Devoto.
Thanks, Rick. This is where I'll be with Kyle Petty and Dale Jarrett following the race. And the post-race show the last few years here in this race at Martinsville has certainly been interesting. And it's something to think about because your stage winners so far, Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano, 2 drivers who were involved in incidents in 2015 and 2017. The sequence of events from those races, ones we still talk about today. So do both drivers have unfinished business? And are they driving with that in mind? This last stage is going to be interesting, and we will be here for you after the race to talk with not just the winner, but all the scenarios. If it's a playoff winner, they get that ticket to that final race at Homestead. We'll see you after the race.
Thank you, Krista.
We've talked about track position all day long. Well, those games to get track position, they can happen on pit road. See the 18 car rolling off pit road right here. Gets done his pit stop. Look how slow he leaves. Just slows down a little bit. Is it possible he was slowing down to take the inside? That put the 11 in second. He'd be third.
So difficult to be able to keep your position when you're stuck on the outside here at Martinsville on restarts, although we have seen a few drivers fight to keep those spots. We'll see if Denny Hamlin will be able to fight and hold on to second, as Joey Logano will have lane choice because of being the race leader, and more than likely we will see Logano choose that inside line that they have done so many times before.
So guys, what's one of the things that the intensity gets picked up on at these races?
Weather.
Weather. Look what we got coming. So maybe 30 minutes out, this weather's working itself toward this racetrack. That is immediately going to ramp up the pressure. We're past the second stage. If it were to rain and they couldn't get the track dry, it would be an official race. So now, these guys, they can't think about 500 laps. They got to think about maybe 30 minutes to get the positions they need.
So you're saying the intensity is going to ramp up then? Is that what
it has
you're
a history
for?
of doing that.
Well, you talked about rain. You know, one thing that's changed over the years are these stages and the points that paid off. These are awarded. They're done. No matter how you finish the race, you've earned this many points. Joey Logano, the big winner at 19 points. Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch. Look at that. A name you don't see on there. Almirola. He has not earned those stage points. That has definitely hurt his effort so far. Joey Logano has been outstanding. Second position at the end of the first stage, Rick. He just did such a nice job.
And remember, he started 10th today.
Yeah, got that point right at the end, and then held off Denny Hamlin. You never know where this point's going to matter. But we've seen drivers tie at the end of these stages, so Joey Logano making the most of it, because Jeff Burton's right. As we come to this restart, intensity's up. There will be way more aggression. One of those turns into an accident can end your day. You kind of save it by some points.
Field coming out of turn 4. They are approaching the Geico restart zone once again as we get underway with the final stage. Green flag back in the air.
Another great restart by that 22, man. It's 2 in a row. And he just jumps out there with so much drive through the gears.
One car that's missing from this picture, Ryan Newman, running very well today. Got caught speeding during that pit stop cycle. Had to go to the back.
And as they are fighting for position around this half-mile paperclip. Let's head to the skies above the paperclip. These laps from above brought to you by Ally. It's such a great restart again for Logano. He jumps out to almost a 3-4 car length lead over Denny Hamlin, who was able to hang on to that second spot. Then the 18 of Kyle Busch running third. The battle continues for the fourth spot. 41 of Kurt Busch has it, but Martin Truex Jr. right there in that fifth position fighting for fourth.
Yeah, Truex didn't get through turn 1 and 2 there very well, and Kurt's going to get that position. Now the 2, Keselowski, he's been fast all weekend, but hadn't been up here in the top 10 most of the day. Drove his way up through here, got some great pit work from his crew. He's going to take that position. 14 of Boyer, who was fading on the last run, back in the battle here.
Boyer doesn't get a good exit off turn 2. That opens the door with Martin Truex Jr. to fill it. He didn't. Clint Boyer fills it.
Truex struggling on the outside here. Truex a few spots.
Truex is going to look to get behind the 14. Big gap in front of the 9. Pretty clean restart, really.
Stage points go out the window now. Now it's positions and fighting to win. But Steve, long final stage, even though that weather is in the distance and possibly thinking in these crew chiefs' minds that it might influence this race, they've got to also think about when they've got to come back to pit road and how they want to split up this final stage.
Yeah, they can run about 150 laps. I think here the penalty of pitting is huge because you lose so many laps. You lose at least 2, if not 3, with the length of pit road. So you're really looking for a yellow. You're not going to try to be too creative under green. You just kind of settle in, assume it's going to go long. The bigger concern is if we have a rash of yellow flags, which one do you pit on? We can easily see the field broken up.
Teammates Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch currently running in second and third. Again, Denny Hamlin no longer inside the playoff picture, but he is still looking for that win that he needs to keep his consecutive season win streak alive.
Talk about Allmendinger coming here and thinking this was a great place for him to have a career day or a great race for his team this weekend, and Ty Dillon's doing the same thing. Ty Dillon in 12th place right now. The best run that this team's had all season long. And he's doing this outright, making these positions, making these gains on the racetrack.
And Matt Borland took over the crew chiefing duties with this 13 car this year. I asked him a few weeks ago what would be a successful season, and he told me until we have a couple of good runs strung together, we won't consider it a success. Yeah, we're doing well. We're having some good runs, but we need to string them together. Currently 12th. This is one of the good ones for Ty Dillon.
Yeah, there's a 2-car, Brad Keselowski. Remember, he had to start in the back of the pack this race. He's done a really nice job of cleanly working himself up to the top 5, running in 5th, putting tons of pressure on Kurt Busch, but not the damage on his car. Look at his car. Looks perfectly clean, like he started in the front. Compare that to the 78 of Truex. Truex has right side's hurt, got a hole in the right front nose. Keselowski's been able to be very clean coming up through the pack.
Brad had good speed in practice, and this is no surprise to me that he's working his way up through the field. He's a perfect kind of race car driver for a race like this. Just thinks about everything he does, really a judgmental call every single lap on what you're doing, and he's a smart race car driver, and he has the speed in the car. Marty.
Junior always very good here. Brad Keselowski at Martinsville. In fact, they had this race kind of circled if they were in the playoffs as their best chance to advance to Miami. I talked to him before the race, and his quote was, "My give-a-darn factor is a little bit out the window with us not in the playoffs, but that could be good for us because I don't care about points. All I care about is getting wins." Brad Keselowski in the top 5 with 219 to go, Parker.
Marty, Denny Hamlin there in second, was kind of holding up this Geico cars behind him, and this is exactly what he and Mike Wheeler, his crew chief, were discussing under this last caution, because at the start of the last long run to end stage 2, they lost 4.5 seconds to the leader in the beginning portion, and so crew chief Mike Wheeler wanted to pump those air pressures up, and Denny said, "Don't do it. I don't want to hurt or help this beginning part of the run to hurt the exit or the last part of the run." So this is kind of that trade-off we see here. We talk about cars that are good on the short run versus cars that are good in the long run. You might have to give something up at the beginning to be good at the end.
And Rick, I'm a firm believer that Denny Hamlin is not driving out his windshield. He's driving out his mirror. He's pushing that car only hard enough to stay in front of his teammate as we see Martin Truex Jr. move inside the 2 of Brad Keselowski, who's now under a little bit of attack from the 14 of Clint Boyer. Has a little breathing room, at least that is for Martinsville.
Steve, I think that's a great point. I don't think that we've seen how good that 11 car can be on the early part of a run. He's not been in a situation where he's had to push early, and he's been the kind of guy that taking care of his car, knowing that if he does get a long run, he can drive to the front.
Almirola looks to the inside of Chase Elliott.
You look at the 10 of Eric Almirola. He's had an okay day, but he's missed out on all those stage points, and look what it's done. He already came into the day below the cut line, but currently 44 points below where the other playoff cars are running. He's running 9th, and he's 7 out of the 8 playoff contenders. That's what kind of round this is going to be. Came in at -12, currently -44. Okay days are not going to work in this round when it comes to the playoffs and trying to advance to Miami.
It's early to call it a must-win situation, but these two drivers are finding themselves in that position because being 44 points behind and 28 points behind, only one driver is guaranteed to get into the championship playoffs based on points. Kelly.
And unlike Eric Almirola, Chase Elliott and that 9 came into this race above the cut line. Granted, it was only 3 points, but Fucci, Val, and Gustafson told me their mindset was that they just couldn't give up any points today if they're going to have any opportunity to point their way into the championship race. He said if we lose points today, we put ourselves in a must-win situation. Well, they unfortunately have done just that, especially with the 22 leading. It shows them as 29 points now below that cut line. They've just struggled with the 9 car this weekend. They don't know why. Alan's saying we just can't find any speed in it. The good news, they seem to get better throughout a race week in, week out, and he's running top 10 now.
And Kelly, let's listen into the 9 radio.
And watching Joey, the things that he can do, his car cuts earlier than our car does, a little bit before center, especially when he moves up, which gives him a lot of speed.
And they're talking about the 22 of Joey Logano.
What Alan's explaining and the spotter and the driver discussing there is every car here is tight to some point in the middle and loose off. The question is, are you loose off because the car's too loose, or are you loose off because it doesn't turn and you're standing on the gas with the steering wheel turned? And that was a veteran crew chief saying, listen, the guy leading the race, his car turns better. So I know you might be loose off, but let me try to make it turn better and see if you can get the wheel straight and help me with the exit. Always a compromise, Rick.
Compromise, pressure, patience, a lot of things everyone has to think about as Logano continues to lead here at Martinsville. Monster Energy Cup Series starting the round of 8. The possibility for a spot in the championship 4 is out there. Want to take a look at today's Ram trucks, proven to last.
A lot of green flag racing, Rick. I believe the yellows are coming, and the question is when they come, which one do you pit on? If we get a string of yellows, which caution you choose to put tires on could change the entire day.
And keeping up with track changes, this track is going to continue to rubber up. If it doesn't rain, it's going to continue to rubber up. You're going to have to make those changes.
And you take care of your equipment. Obviously, we've seen the beads melting on the right front of these cars. Take care of the heat in your brakes. Take care of your tires. Keeping the front suspension together, not beating it and banging on guys too hard.
I think taking care of your equipment resounds even louder when we watch the 11 and we see what Denny Hamlin is doing, where Denny Hamlin doesn't push it early in a run, but at the end of the run, definitely the strongest car on the racetrack.
And it's really good at this racetrack. He knows how to get around here, but he also isn't in the playoffs, so he's not under extreme pressure like most of these other guys to really push their cars all day long. He can kind of just ride however he wants at the pace that he wants for himself.
With 300, we're at 302. This race is starting to wind down a little bit. You look at those points on the left side of the board, assuming that the 22 wins this race. Look at how it changes things. So this drive by the 78 from the back has been huge, because look what would happen if Logano wins. We talked about the big 3 all year long, the 18, the 78, the 4. That puts them 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The 4 would only be 18 points ahead with 2 races left in this stage. That's an incredibly tight battle between those 3 guys, assuming that 22 wins this race.
He's got a lot of laps to go before we can hand him the checkered flag. 197 to be exact.
But this is a time in the race, Junior, where emotionally, when I start to get to that 350 mark, I start to, maybe 100 to go, I really flip switches. I really go, okay, now we're finished this thing off, though. Now it's race winning time or get the best finish I can. You manage your day with what you had. You get the most you can, but now you're going to get to the finish, and you got to start pushing hard to get that finish that you're trying to get for your team.
Yeah, I think you look up at the scoreboard and see 300 laps and go, man, it feels like we should be near the finish of this race because I'm good physically, but emotionally, I don't know how much more I got to be able to take care of this thing and drive, you know, with my head on my shoulders. Great little battle here between Truex. His car seems to be coming around. The 41 of Kurt Busch trying to take care of his car, take care of the rear tires, and maintain this position. Doesn't really want to give it up to Truex.
Kurt way up the racetrack on corner exit right there, but still making it work. Truex not being able to really turn underneath him, apply the throttle. 41 intentionally up the racetrack. That's something you don't see a lot at this racetrack, but he's making it work.
I was just going to say, I'm seeing my first race from the booth at Martinsville Speedway, and I don't remember guys using the racetrack up that much, using this extra high exit. We've seen guys run the entire corner on the high side and make speed there.
And if you're Truex, it's frustrating because in the past you're like, I got him, that's the spot I want, and he drives away from you. You're just really surprised.
There we go. Looks like Kurt's had enough of the pressure. Says, all right, I don't like the pace. I'm gonna back it off a little bit. Let's Truex go by, hoping that we get 20 more laps down the road. Maybe he can catch him and pass him back.
Well, I think that's the point, Junior, right? The 41 doesn't let him go because he wants to give up the spot, right? He does not. He knows how hard he wants to push his car. He said, you know, the 78's a little better. I'm not going to get out of my plan. My plan is to run down here, put the right rear in the rubber, keep the rear tires on it.
Yeah.
Let the 78
That's
go.
what I love about this racetrack is having to take care of your car, having to take care of your tires. It really brings the driver into it.
Different situations for everybody on the track. After the start of this final stage, Joey Logano jumps out to the lead, has been hanging on to it for 177 laps. Let's go through the field. We'll start with Dave.
And Rick, the driver of this car, was not happy with it after qualifying. Remember what he said? That was really hard to drive. That was evil. We just didn't have it today. I hope we have it in the race tomorrow. So far, a lot better race car today, Parker.
It's been a great race car for Denny Hamlin. You know, you can't not forget that infamous moment between him and the 9 car last year and the crowd booing the hometown favorite Denny Hamlin after the race. So I asked him here before driver intros, you want to make him cheer today, right? He smiled and nodded his head aggressively. Of course he does, Marty.
Hey, Parker, Jeff mentioned a moment ago, can't emphasize enough the rally and how big this is for Martin Truex Jr. from 31st to 3rd. And the thought creeping in now, we might have a shot to win this race. They weren't very good on the long runs here in the spring, so they migrated towards Denny Hamlin's setup. So they have clearly very good on those long runs now, Kelly.
Well, Kurt Busch in his 41 car, he compared this race to the Daytona 500, saying, hey, you win here, you get a ticket to Miami. He said it's like a clean slate, but if we can't win here, we need to fall back on our consistency. Kurt's really been working the track bar inside that 41. It fires off just a little bit too free, Marty.
Brad Keselowski, another non-playoff driver in the mix here, getting around Kyle Busch. He's in the 5th position right now. Car, for much of the day, has been a little bit too free, but he has 5 straight Martinsville top 10s, including a win here last year. He knows the way to victory lane. Would love to get there and spoil the playoff party, Dave.
A quote from Kyle Busch yesterday, who's not running the way he wants to now. Quote, Adam makes adjustments following his gut, and it keeps us up front. Well, he's going to need one of those adjustments from crew chief Adam Stevens because the car is not right now, just not getting enough drive out of that left rear, Parker.
Eric Almirola in 7th place right now. You know, he's been in the top 10 for most this race, and he said this was the race in the playoffs of this round that he was most looking forward to. He felt like this was their best shot to go for a win, but right now he's sitting 42 points out because Logano in that 22 car is probably his worst nightmare in winning here. If he does that, he could be watching a championship slip away, Marty.
This is not the day Clint Boyer expected. Parker, one of the best cars in practice yesterday, struggling right now. In fact, he was so loose on the last run, he said, I'm having to turn right to get into the corner. So they made several changes to the car, air pressure and wedge. They've gone too far. Now he says the car will not turn at all, Kelly.
Chase Elliott has won 2 of the last 3 races, and after the last one on a 1.5-mile track, his crew chief Alan Gustafson told me, hey, I can't wait to get to the next 1.5-mile track, which is Texas next week. Beyond that, they also feel great about going to Phoenix to close out this round. So even though they've lost some points here today, they feel optimistic they can get a win in one of these 3, Parker.
Kelly, look who just passed him. Old 7-time in the 48. We saw him spinning out early in the race with wheel hop and a long brake pedal underneath Eric Jones, but he's methodically moved his way forward and been great on the long run. That team told me they were looking forward to the long run. They just did not feel they had the short run speed, and guess what? What a great run when you announce a full-time 2-year sponsor, Kelly.
Yeah, and for A.J. Allmendinger now running 11th. He says he absolutely loves racing here at Martinsville Speedway. It's the history of this place that gets him going. When I talked to him before the race, he felt like they had a really solid practice. They were able to work through a variety of setups and felt like they had the best one to bring here to the race. Just outside of the top 10 right now, Dave.
Ty Dillon maintaining 12th, and we're human, right? So repetition helps. Let it roll. He hears that from his spotter. Let it roll. Let it roll. Good job. Let it roll through the corner.
Letting it roll through the corner, man. We're seeing a lot of guys letting it roll through the corner. 10 car of Eric Almirola. It's way up the racetrack. 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, too. They're both all way up the racetrack. Here's 4 car of Kevin Harvick trying to get by the one of McMurray. Harvick in 14th, trying to get 13th from McMurray, trying to stay on the lead lap again.
So let's check that 10 car out. You just mentioned it. He's the fastest car on the racetrack. Eric Almirola is the fastest car on the racetrack, running a very unconventional line, way off the bottom of the corner, just using all of the racetrack on corner exit. You talked about being in a race car, never seeing this before. Well, this is something we have not seen very often, but Eric Almirola is making it work.
Logano still out front, has a second lead over Denny Hamlin here in Martinsville. The NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series, first data 500 from Martinsville, Virginia, and Martinsville Speedway. Now next Sunday, the Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs will continue from Texas Motor Speedway, another 1.5-mile racetrack in front of these championship contenders. That race coverage beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Another opportunity coming for the playoff drivers to lock themselves into the championship four. The 14 of Clint Boyer has been strong most of the day. Let's listen into his radio how he's doing now.
Weird, man, what they're doing in 1 and 2, I ain't never seen work here. I remember when we kind of got second degree working 10, 12 years ago, but the line wasn't nothing like it is today.
That's exactly what we were talking about, Juniors, that Eric Almirola and Jimmy Johnson, they're making something work that is very unconventional. And it's dragging some other people up the racetrack trying it as well because they're having so much luck with it. Makes you wonder, though, if they go up there, is it going to start putting rubber on the racetrack, and that actually will eventually hurt that upper groove?
Well, a car that's not using the upper groove is the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. He's closed the gap to the 22 of Joey Logano to under 1 second. We've seen him and the 11 be the best cars on the long run. Well, the 78 just turned left, went underneath the 11, and look how good this 78 gets through the middle of the corner. Man, it just turns the middle, which allows them to drive off nice and straight, Rick. We're hearing rain. A lot of people talking 10 or 12 minutes out. I don't know if it would end the race. There's lights here. I think it might be a chance to drive the racetrack, but in case it does, you need to be the leader, right? That would be the win. This race would be official.
And Steve, you better believe it, Cole Pearn has told Martin Truex Jr. that rain is coming, and you can almost feel the sense of urgency in the 78 camp pick up at that point. He got past Denny Hamlin, now he's tracking down the 22. That rain is coming, but also what's coming, Steve, the window to make it to the end of the race. So how brave are you, Mr. Crew Chief? You come down pit road, even under green, you lose a lot of time, but if the rain doesn't make it and we go green, that might be the move to win the race.
There'd be braver than me to short pit here at Martinsville. This is one, Rick, I am going to run all the way until I see at least the playoff cars I'm racing against. We're going to all come to pit road as a happy family.
The 22 runs right on that curb. He's one of those guys that hasn't really moved around too much, changed his line too much. He has moved up high and tried it a few laps, but he always seems to come back down to that bottom, rolling the bottom against the curb. Truex a little bit higher. I wonder if the build-up on that, you know, some of the guys, once that rubber does build up on that bottom groove, whether their cars just don't grip that rubber and they need to move out of it, get the right sides above it, straddle it. You talked about that earlier, Jeff, how the guys have to kind of straddle that rubber on the racetrack once it builds up. I think that's what some guys have to face. Once the track changes, it gets enough rubber down, you have to be able to, you know, move around and adjust your line.
It's so important at this racetrack is not to get locked into saying, I have to run here.
Yeah.
Because that rubber buildup changes, and you got to be willing to move around. That's hard to do when you're in the middle of the hornet's nest. Right now, the 78, he's got clean racetrack. He can try something, move around a little bit. Logano clearly can't. He's working lap traffic trying to get by them. But when you have it second, you need to look around, see if you can find something better.
And the rubber doesn't stay there. Under caution, much like Dover, we picked that rubber up with the hot tires, and we go back to green with pretty much a green racetrack, and then we put the rubber all back down with that set of tires. And track is changing tremendously all the time throughout the day.
It's an interesting battle, guys, because I believe in clearing racetrack. The 22 is as good as the 78. But that 22 car, Rick, it costs him more time to get through traffic. I don't know if his car just needs both lanes to work. I don't know if maybe they're fighting him because he's the leader harder. But right here, you see the 78 and the 22. The 78 doesn't really gain on him when they're out there by themselves. But as the 22 catches this traffic, the 78 really, really closes in.
Logano, you look up in front of you. Look at this mess. A lot of cars you're going to have to get through. Good race cars.
Matt Kenseth moving up the racetrack into 6, allowing the 22 by. Again, it was those two cars that had the falling outs just 2 years ago at this racetrack. Logano able to get by.
One thing about everybody having to run so many different lines is it's actually giving the leader options. Getting through lap traffic isn't quite as tough as we've seen in years past.
Murray, the last car on the lead lap, so he's not going to make this easy on Logano.
And Jeff, it's not too far in front of him where Kevin Harvick, one of the playoff contenders, is running in 13th, Parker.
And Rick, yeah, that's the thing right now. He's 17 seconds behind Logano. It's only a couple of seconds ahead of him, trying to run basically for his lead lap right now. We know the thing with this car is he's struggled consistently in this race with the rear end, just not being able to hook it up on the X of the corners. And just a little bit ago, he said it's getting really bad. But then in the last about 10 laps, he started to click lap times that are in the top 5 and occasionally the fastest car on the racetrack. So he's finding a little something in that Ford car. But I don't know if I've recognized this Ford car right now that we've seen through most of this race. That is not the car that's dominated most of this season.
Well, even in the playoffs, you saw the graphic where 7.8 the finish for the regular season, and 16th has been his average finish in the playoffs. Not something that we had expected out of the Ford team and Kevin Harvick. Gap has closed now. A car link separating the top two. Logano with Martin Truex Jr. just behind.
Yeah, it took Logano just a little bit to get by that one car, McMurray, and that allowed Truex to close the door, close the gap just a little bit. But now 22 comes up on Jeff Burton, who should be pretty simple, pretty easy to pass. And in that clean air, that moment where he wasn't around lap traffic, he's already gapped to 78 a little bit here. I think you're right, Steve. That 22, pretty good. If he's in clean air, he's able to keep that gap, if not make it bigger.
I agree. I think that 22, much like Denny Hamlin earlier, I think that 22 is driving back to his competition, saving what car he can save.
154 laps to go from Martinsville. It's been tough on equipment. Matt DiBenedetto with the fire, and even tough on our equipment. Like that. Our camera broke.
The demands are greater. The expectations higher. The jobs tougher. The world moves faster. So we made your truck even more capable with legendary Hemi power. No wonder more people are switching to Ram than ever before.
During Ram Power Days, get an average $10,017 in total values on the all-new 2019 Ram 1500.
What's the secret to a great steak at home? Ordering it from Outback. Easily enjoy all your favorites when you order Outback delivery or curbside takeaway right now. Outback Steakhouse. Aussie rules.
For decades, banks have been getting away with it. Charging you excess fees. Making you wait in line. Keeping billions of dollars of your interest. They've been treating you like you're lucky to have them. That's not right. Show them who's the boss of your money. You. Better is out there. Ally. Do it right.
Kevin here says Mobile One annual protection is proven to protect for 20,000 miles.
It'll save you a lot of time. Dad, with all this extra time.
Sorry, buddy. Kevin and I have a tea time at 11.
20,000 miles guaranteed. Mobile One annual protection.
Opening weekend, November 9th, 10th, 11th. Buy the best Can-Am 500 seats early at ismraceway.com.
This isn't just college football.
Here come the Irish to the end zone. Touchdown Notre Dame.
This is Florida State, Notre Dame.
Touchdown Irish.
In prime time on NBC.
The countdown is on for the E! People's Choice Awards.
Take it to the people!
You've chosen the finalists, but there's only one way to see who'll win.
I love y'all.
The E! People's Choice Awards, Sunday, November 11th at 9.
Move to the inside by Martin Truex Jr. for the lead. Trying to take it away from Joey Logano. Logano's been out front over 222 laps. Martin Truex Jr. hasn't led a lap yet, but here he is fighting on the back bumper of Logano for the lead.
He's going to have a hard time making this pass on the inside. Logano, we've seen everybody up there making speed on that high side, so that's a competitive line still for Logano.
Saw Truex in the back of the 22 just a lap before. This is huge right here. Win this race, move on to Miami. You said it, Logano is going to put up a fight, and the track's going to allow him. In the past, this race is over. The 78 is by him already.
Down now, inside bumper.
But the one thing it does when you have to run up the racetrack is you have to have a lot of faith in that guy following you. That 78, every corner right here gets just inside that left rear quarter panel, just inviting for a little nudge, just a little nudge to move him out of the lane and to scoot by.
And don't forget about that entry into turn 3 or turn 1. We'll hop in the rear tires. If the 78 has that happen, he's going to have to get off the brake pedal, potentially into the back of the 22. So a lot of trust here between the 22 and 78 as they race each other. Very, very tough here at Martinsville.
Look at the rear drive the 22 has on corner exit using that high line. That's what's preventing the 78 from making the move. The 78 is clearly faster. 78 now using more racetrack on entry, trying to diamond the track a little bit. Got a great run off of 2.
Spinning the rear tires a little bit. You see him. He's pushing it hard.
Gonna drive in deep right here, trying to get alongside. Game over. 78 in the lead.
33rd all the way to the lead.
Started at the back and now Martin Truex Jr. leading at a short track, Martinsville Speedway. The laps continuing to wind down, and the Martin Truex Jr. fans on their feet and congratulating that pass. A masterful piece of work. As you see, the 43 slow on the track, could be bringing out a caution. Looks like sparks were flying from underneath. We'll see if he gets to pit road.
With that pass for the lead, Martin Truex Jr. There you see the playoff points as they are now.
That changes the whole picture, doesn't it, Junior?
Sure does.
Martin Truex Jr. out front being shown as the leader. If he wins, automatically advances to the championship 4. Marty.
And Rick, just think about the story for the 78 team. Shut down a couple of months ago. Everybody said, I know they're part of the Big Three. They may not make it to Miami, and this is the round where they would fall out. Of all the places you thought they may advance automatically to Miami, Martinsville was probably on the bottom of that list, and even the 78 team would have said that. And here they are from 31st to the lead with a fast race car that's better on the longer run, Dave.
Buddy, we showed how the playoff points changed when Joey Logano went from being leader down to 4th. You could still see that he had dug himself out of the points hole that he was in coming into Martinsville. Perhaps that's why he said over the radio, I'm thinking of letting him go. Now, Jeff, why would you let a driver go? Because you know if you don't maybe move over a little bit and give him some room to race, he'll move you.
A couple things go into that decision. That is exactly right. You get that pressure, and you're like, you know what? Second's better than being wrecked. So you make that move. The other thing is, you know how hard you've pushed your car, how hard you've punished the tires. There's not a caution. You don't know when a caution's coming out. Sometimes you just got to back up. understand there's more laps coming. You got to save those tires in your car a little bit. That decision gets made from inside the car based on what the driver is feeling.
Absolutely. And at 22, Joe Logano's looking in the mirror, and he's seeing another guy closing in that he's seen all day long. Denny Hamlin starting to close the gap for second place. So Joey's had to drop back. You see him fight and drive off on corner exit right there. Used up about all he's got on his rear tires. He's sort of in protect mode right now. He may have to give up. Oh, we got a car on the wall. 24, William Byron in turn 3 and 4 has spun around.
Into the wall, right in the middle of turns 3 and 4. The caution will come out.
The battle moves from the racetrack to pit road.
And
if you get it fired up, go backward.
The weather is coming. That's the other issue that's coming up.
Somebody stay out, Steve. Would a guy like Newman, Ty Dillon, Allmendinger, would they stay out, not pit, and then hope it rains?
I just think with 97 laps on their tires, if you even had one corner, one restart, I think you'd be wrecked. And while the weather is closing in, you know, it's still a few miles out. I think you have to plan on going back under green flag conditions. Take a look at what happened to William Byron there in the 24.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from this angle what started it, but whether he got any help earlier on corner entry or whether he wheel hopped the rear, we don't have another look. So interested to see now these teams to get the job done, Steve.
Well, and remember, we've talked about pit road and how tight it is. Well, that hasn't changed, right? While there's only 14 cars on the lead lap, it's all going to be about getting in and out of your pit box clean, not making a mistake, controlling all the tires. Also, not to mention the adjustments you plan on making.
Here they come, Parker.
Denny Hamlin there in third place. Said he's just too loose right now. Cannot put the throttle down while having the wheel turn. There was a little discussion about what to do under this stop, but I believe it'll be Ford Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel planning to go through the rain there, Marty.
Martin Truex Jr. has done his job on the track. Let's see if the 78 team can do their job on pit road. No changes here. Cole Pern said no mistakes from anyone on this stop. Very quick for the 78 so far, Dave.
Joey Logano cleanly in his pit box. 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. The car swung both ways balance-wise, so a slight air pressure adjustment. Todd Gordon's best judgment, given the driver feedback.
And the race off pit road, a close one. Martin Truex Jr., then Logano, Hamlin, Almirola, and Kyle Busch. Will it be a sprint to the finish? Will rain come into play? A restart when we come back. You're watching NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing. It's the first Data 500 from Martinsville. And pit stops complete as the crew making their way around this half-mile racetrack. Tonight on Sunday Night Football, it's a rematch of the Minneapolis Miracle, last year's amazing divisional playoff game between the Saints and the Vikings. Football Night in America at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then kickoff at 8:20 tonight only on NBC. Once again, drivers weighing in on Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football on NBC. The Saints are at the Vikings. My personal pick, I think I'm going to go with Minnesota because they're at home. It's going to be a tough battle. Drew Brees versus Kirk Cousins. I'm going to go with Minnesota.
Two powerhouse offenses who are on fire right now. I'm going to go on the other side of the ball, the team that has the better defense right now, and I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. I think they can pull it out. I'm a diehard Panthers fan, so of course I don't want to see the Saints win, so go Vikings. This is going for 4-0 for me. I'm taking the New Orleans Saints. Last year, they lost on a miracle throw to Stephon Diggs. This year, Drew Brees is having an MVP season. Check out Sunday Night Football on NBC as the Saints take on the Vikings.
That is tonight, but right now, more contact will be taking place here at Martinsville than maybe in that football game because it is getting intense. Only 127 laps to go from Martinsville.
Truex, a control car. 22's had some amazing restarts. Interested to see what happens here. Oh, look at the bump, but the 10 car.
Almirola into the back bumper of the 22. Logano able to keep it straight, hangs on to second. The fight for third. Almirola on the outside of Denny Hamlin.
That's a really good job by Logano not to lose control there and still be able to beat the 11 car off of turn 2 and roll back into second.
This is kind of the first restart where guys aren't able to really take care of their cars and ride. Everybody here right now, I think, is pushing harder than they have all day long on these first few laps, wanting to maintain every single position they can, knowing that we're coming close to the end of this race. Whether we get weather or not, these guys are pushing extremely hard. To be interested to see right now who has the best early run car. We haven't really been able to get a good test of that yet.
And that top lane we talked about earlier, it's not going to work right now. That top lane is going to work when the tires are old.
Half to the 2.
They don't have that grip. You use that top lane to help you exit. You saw Amarola losing spots. He was a guy that found that top lane, but it didn't work at that start. Now here's Joey Logano putting a lot of pressure on Truex.
Yeah, the rubber's gotten picked up from the racetrack under that caution, and big run right here.
There comes Logano looking to the inside. Can he take the spot away quickly from the 78 and Truex Jr.?
Yeah, I think so. That was amazing how deep he could get down into turn 3. I don't think Truex even could defend that.
Logano's roll speed through the middle of the corner and then the exit speed, being able to put the throttle down, was impressive to say the least, coming off turn 2.
But guys, with 123 laps to go, these drivers can all make it to the end on fuel. So I agree, Dale Jr., they have run hard, and what is that going to do to their tires if they are forced to run the rest of this way on this set? Who will save enough while managing their position? Because you definitely can't let anyone go at this point. You just don't know if you'll get back by.
Yeah, you can't let anybody go, but right now the 78's had the best car on the long run. The 22, though, look at these little short runs, the short run speed he has. Think about these late yellows who are likely to get in the last 50 laps. He is in great position with that short run speed.
We've said it over and over how important it is to get a win, to get into the championship 4. Listen to what Logano thinks about this as he leads here at Martinsville.
There's so many things that can happen at Martinsville. You've seen late race cautions, and we've seen everything that happened last year there with cars trying to get into the championship 4. So when everyone is that close to each other and they see their championship right in front of them in the first round of the top 8 there, people are willing to make some big moves. I think they realize how big of a deal it is to win that race and have 2 weeks to prepare for nothing but Miami.
Reference last year when the 11 of Denny Hamlin got into the 24 at the time of Chase Elliott and wrecked him while he was running up front. Timmy Hill in the 66, you see the flames rolling from underneath that car. DW throwback paint scheme as Timmy Hill jumps out of that car, and the fire extinguishers will go to.
Yeah, that's right on pit entry.
You got out okay.
See, if you're going to force a yellow, you can't have a car sitting on pit road entry. That thing's not going to move.
There, huh?
Caution coming out quickly for this.
Wow.
Burst into flames as he was coming down the backstretch.
Yeah, some liquid coming out of the bottom of the car there, some kind of oil line or something. I'd guess, Steve, that.
Yeah, it looks like a mechanical failure that then caught on fire. So it's going to take a little bit of time for this to get cleaned up. Only 9 laps on the tires. I can't imagine the leaders will pit. Harvick, McMurray, Newman, the last few cars in the lead lap. I know it's only 9 laps, Rick, but they may come to pit road, make some adjustments for another short run.
They'll have to wait here a little bit because Timmy Hill's car and all of the safety crew are right there at the entrance to pit road. So it'll take a little while to clean this up, which means the cars will roll around the racetrack until it is clean and safe for them to come onto pit road. And as you mentioned, who will make that decision? Who will choose to come to pit road and who will stay out?
And we haven't seen tires worth a lot. So the front group, I think, it's not about coming to pit road. I think for the front group guys, you know, heat cycles on tires definitely change the way they drive. Junior, you know, you and I used to have that discussion. The car would take off tight on cold sticker tires, but then take off different on tires that had heated up and cooled down one time, which is what's going to happen to all these leaders' tires.
Yeah, I think everybody would rather start with their air pressures a little higher, but for the long run, that doesn't work very well. So these guys all getting that little bit of heat in their tires, so a little cycle, a little brake temperature in the tires. The pressures have came up a good 2, 3, 4 pounds. Restart will be a lot more comfortable for these cars.
You hate to see a small team have a problem like this. Obviously, an expensive problem, but when we come back, we're going to see a restart. Could be for the win of the race.
And the fire underneath The 66 of Timmy Hill has brought the caution out once again. And so as the field working their way around the track until pit road is open and clear, we're going to take a quick little break here, discuss a little bit about what has happened. Joey Logano has been dominant, running up front almost half the race, and then Martin Truex Jr. has looked very strong as of late.
And we've seen this every time we come to Martinsville. The last 100 laps make all the difference. We've seen long runs and short runs in the first 400 laps over the course of history here. But how will the last 100 laps be run? Will it be a long run? If that's the case, it seems like the 78 and the 11 have the two best long run cars. If it's a bunch of stints, short runs, it looks like the 22 of Joey Logano really fires off well. So that's kind of the decision the crew chiefs have to make all week long. What kind of car do you think you need? And you basically have to guess right for the race to come to you.
Let's bring in the drivers, Junior and Jeff. So we've seen Denny Hamlin look very impressive as far as the skill that he's able to show and his ability to get up front.
Yeah, we also haven't seen his short run speed, what he has there, and I think he's going to need it. You said it at the top of the show. There's 15 average cautions at this racetrack, so I think we're going to see more, especially late in this race, and that works for Joey Logano. His car is super fast on the short run. I think it works against Martin Truex Jr., who has the best car on the long run.
And I think even deeper back in the field, we just saw Eric Almirola kind of working himself toward the back a little bit. He was very fast on a long run. So some of those guys that looked really good, you get a rash of cautions, it could really hurt them. But that's what we see here. You have to have a car that can do both, but it's very difficult to make that happen.
So we talked about Eric Almirola. I think his teammate, Kevin Harvick, currently all the way back in 14th. Definitely not the day this 4 teams wanted to have. But there's only 15 cars in the lead lap. So this is the car that will absolutely come to pit road underneath this yellow and maybe make some adjustments. Now that he knows how his car takes off for 9 hard laps in traffic, make some adjustments. Do I think it's a race-winning call? No. But if he can get from 14th to 10th to 8th to 9th, those positions are all points. While he has a big points lead, currently only plus 21 where he rides around. Rick, 4 or 5 points could be the difference if Phoenix and Texas don't go the 4 cars' way.
Pit road is open now. We'll see if anyone decides to dive onto pit road. Joey Logano's not going to do it. He goes by, as does the 78. The 14 of Clint Boyer, the first one to dive onto pit road. Then Chase Elliott followed just behind him. Kelly.
Crew Chief Alan Gustafson making a last-second call to bring Chase Elliott down to pit road. He was happier with his car since they went back on some adjustments. The call was for 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Got to give a call to Mike Bugger-Ravage coming down pit road, trying to do something different. Clint Boyer running 8th. The car was too tight the run before. This time, much better for Boyer. Going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires here, Parker.
Evan Harvick just pulling away there was 4 Goodyear tires and an adjustment in the right rear right there. Being the second to last car on the lead lap, they had nothing to lose making this pit stop.
Got to be careful not to speed coming off of pit road.
And Rick, this is a big race off of pit road. You want to be the first car on new tires. You want to be able to attack those old tires. And it looks like Chase Elliott's going to win that race off pit road. Could be more points for the driver, the number 9.
Elliott, Almirola, and then Clint Boyer, the race off pit road.
$108 laps to go here in Martinsville. Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr. on the front row. Joey's had great restarts all day long. As soon as he can take advantage of it, this late race restart.
That's right, Denny Hamlin on the inside in 3rd. I think he's got a great shot if he can put it together. If this race goes green, plays in the hands of Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Truex with a long run car as well.
And I'm a little surprised we're heading to green. A little bit of confusion at the back of the field. The guys off pit road are trying to find their spot. Chase Elliott, Clint Boyer, fresh tires. Can they use them here right away on the restart?
Coming out of turn 4, Logano, Martin Truex Jr. Back up through the gears they go as they dive into turn number 1.
Dale Jr. called it. That 22. He is remarkable when he can control the pace of the restarts. Great acceleration out of that 22 car.
Keselowski also with a strong move, moves up to 3rd.
A little slip. Truex is slipping a little bit here. But you see him there? See the back of the car having trouble? I wonder if he cleaned his tires well enough on that last caution.
And behind him a little bit, Clint Boyer in that yellow car, he was able to jump on the outside. He's going to be the first car with 4 tires, getting by the 9 of Chase Elliott.
He has to think that this is his day, right, Jeff? I mean, I think he's willing to move people early. It's not going to be just for the lead. I think he looks at this 31 of Ryan Newman. 105 to go. He's not going to have any problem putting the bumper to him.
Yeah, you got to go now while everybody's stacked up, while everybody's right there in front of you. Attack while you can on these tires before they start to equalize with the rest of the field's older tires. They only have 8 or 9 laps on them, so he doesn't have much of an advantage. It's to go now.
How about the 18 of Kyle Busch? He jumped up on the outside trying to make the move work. Still on the outside of the 11. Could have gotten behind him, chose not to.
Came close to brushing the wall as well. The 18 still trying to get by on the outside of the 11.
That's tons of confidence. When you jump up on the outside of a car as good as the 11, the 42 was a problem.
Kyle Larson into the wall on the backstretch.
Stop here. Stop up against the wall. Stop.
Has some sort of major issue with all that smoke. You see, he reaches up, drops the window net. That tells me.
I think you got a fire here, Kyle. Go ahead and start unstrapping yourself and getting out.
Saw plumes of smoke as he was going right up against the wall entering turn 3.
Let's take a look at the replay. Looks like his right front tire's got air in it. Off turn 2 here. Something broke.
Blowing up here, guys. Blowing up. Stay up here, Kyle. Stay up. Stay up.
It sounds like it's running, but the car's broken. Looks like a left front issue.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was driveline, but it's in front of the front tires. That tells me it's engine, not rear gear or transmission.
Yeah, it's not like the motor. You hear the engine lay down. It changed tones.
There's
See the oil running out of it.
Yeah.
Can't let the oil out, Steve.
Well, and here's the problem with Martinsville. We talked about multiple yellows when you come. Well, if you didn't come, you can't come now, because all those other guys that just came to pit road, they're definitely staying out. So this is what makes this so difficult is, Marty, if we start to see 10, 15 lap sprints broken up by yellows, and it becomes very difficult to decide if you ever want to come to pit road.
Isn't this always how it happens at Martinsville? All these short runs at the end of the race. Joey Logano has proven to be very good at those today. For Kyle Larson, they think it was something transmission related with what happened to that 42 car. They don't truly know. They're going to diagnose when they get it back to the garage area.
They were just getting back into the gas coming out of turn 2 when that happened.
And every caution we see, I think, personally, hurts the 78. We still have 100 to go, so a lot of racing left. But, guys, it seems like the 22 is a short-run car. Brad Keselowski, another Penske Ford, a short-run car. I think the 11 and the 78 would much rather this go green, and I just don't know what this is going to do to someone like Clint Boyer, who's on those fresher tires. Is it enough laps to matter? I'm just not sure.
Another restart in front of us. Logano and Truex Jr. will make up the front row again. It's Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Martinsville, and it is the weekend prior to Halloween. And there's a monster right there hanging out with us. He's got a hot pass.
Well, I don't think he's going to eat many hot dogs either. He's got a Reese cup.
Scully bones.
That's the most interesting thing.
How about the 78 and Martin Truex Jr.? What a day he has had. Found out this morning that he would have to start at the back of the field because they were not able to pass post-qualifying inspection the first time through.
Contact early right away, lap 1, trying to go 3 wide, a little contact on the right front fender.
His car wasn't that good at the start of the race, as you see here, losing a position to Brad Keselowski. They pit stop. They got him in even more trouble, having to back up.
Even more contact on a restart. Martin Truex Jr. has not been easy on this car today.
He found a way to get all the way up inside the top 10 before the end of stage 1. Pretty remarkable, Rick, that he was able to score those points starting the way he did and with all of those issues to start this race.
They said that was the goal. They wanted to get into the top 10 by the end of stage 1. And then he's done even better. He's been able to get up front and lead laps in this race.
The only problem is, got passed by Logano on the short run. So what can this team do if it comes down to multiple cautions in these last 100 laps? Can he have or find that restart speed?
And also, can you finish it off? I mean, how many races have we seen here where a guy runs great all day long and then a late race restart has a problem and finishes in the 30s? That's the danger that we face here in Martinsville.
get a few updates before we go back to green. We'll start with Dave at the 22.
And of course, you're asking all the questions that Joey Logano's team is asking now. Remember, they changed their philosophy to be better over the longer run, and they proved early in this race that they could be that. Now, all these late race restarts, they're proving they didn't lose the short run speed. Can he hang on, Marty?
Dave, I don't know if you believe in numerology or not, but we've talked about how Martin Truex Jr. has never won a short track race. Well, today is short track race number 78 of Martin Truex Jr.'s career. In the 78 car, can he finally get that short track win? And a huge win it would be. It would punch his ticket to Miami, Kelly.
Well, Kurt Busch has been able to make some small gains in his 41 car on these restarts in spite of not having an ideal race car. He says it just loses overall grip on a restart and it feels out of the track for a while before it finally comes to him. We'll see how he does on this restart. He's lined up 4th, Parker.
Kelly, I think Eric Almirola might become the biggest Martin Truex Jr. fan around right now, because when you see the difference between Martin Truex leading and Joey Logano, it's almost a 10 or 12 point swing for him in the playoffs right now. So for him right now in 11th place, he's on the inside for this restart. He needs to gain every position he can and hope Martin Truex can get ahead of Logano.
Yeah, I'm sure some of you at home are wondering, why is this caution taking so long? Well, they've had to take the 42 car, pick the front of it up, and then get it on a rollback. It's got so much oil coming out of it, they're trying not to drag it around the racetrack, and it's been difficult to get the car on the rollback.
Well, we just got the good update about all of the playoff cars. Well, Dale Jarrett said it all week. People have said it at the top of the show. How about the non-playoff guys? Brad Keselowski, he entered into the playoffs, perhaps the hottest driver to enter the playoffs, winning 3 in a row. But he was eliminated last week. What would a win mean to him? Currently running 3rd. We've seen him be aggressive on these new tires. And then Denny Hamlin, we can't say enough. Rick, you mentioned it earlier. 12 years in a row, this driver has gone to victory lane. This would make 13. Currently winless in 2018, running 5th at his best racetrack. 5 wins here at Martinsville. His 6th win would mean a lot for the 11 car.
And the other name that we've talked about, the streaks that they have on the line, 16 consecutive seasons that Jimmy Johnson has won a race. Well, that is in jeopardy. He's on a 55 race winless streak. That's the longest of his career. Seasons with a win. Active drivers, Jimmy Johnson tops that list. Kyle Busch down there with 14. Denny Hamlin also 12, but he's searching for that win. Look at the names that he's trying to join. David Pearson, Richard Petty, the longest career consecutive win streaks. And then he thought this would be a racetrack where he could get back to victory lane. Led almost 3,000 laps at this racetrack, 9 wins. And probably another reason for him to be smiling today, the Ally Financial Group mentioned that they will be the sponsor for the 48 team over the next 2 years, 2019, 2020. Knowing that Lowe's was going away, the split between Jimmy and Chad Knaus, and now great news for this organization and that team.
Well, great news for the organization that they found a sponsor to sponsor the entire year. But Dale Jr. Burton, how wonderful is it for the sport of NASCAR that it's a new sponsor? Ally coming into the sport. This is not taking away from another race team. This is a company that sees the value in NASCAR racing and wants to be teamed up with a 7-time champ.
I think it's great we got a new company coming in, but you mentioned it. A company that's going to sponsor this car every single race. You got that brand identity consistently throughout the whole season. Cars are iconic in this sport. The black number 3, the rainbow 24. We're going to see Jimmy Johnson in the same car every single week.
All right, let's hear from the guys who are calling the shots on top of the pit boxes. We start with Dave.
Appreciate Todd Gordon for the Pennzoil 22. You and I talked about short run. We talked about long run. Where did that slingshot for these restarts come from?
It's pretty good. I think we worked on a little bit overnight, but feel good about it. Our car's really strong for the first 10 to 12. And then we're mediocre, but then once we get to 50 on, we're fairly strong. So see what happens. This ends up being short runs here at the end. We'll keep hammering it.
Math works out for right now, Marty. It's more than 50 laps to the end.
Let's chat with Cole Pern and get his thoughts. Boy, that 22 has been a rocket ship on those restarts. What can Martin do differently on this restart to get by him?
I don't know. I think we just got to hold serve here, hopefully, and use the long run to work back by him. I mean, that's been our strength all day. It's what we worked on yesterday, and hopefully all these caution laps aren't helping. Sure wish it was going green right now.
Cole sitting right here, girlfriend Sherry back right behind him. They're hoping, Kelly, they can cheer on a Martin Truex Jr. win.
Well, for Billy Scott, crew chief on that 41 car of Kurt Busch, they've had a really solid car. You guys have been top 5 pretty much all day. Now with 91 laps to go, how confident are you of your car that can contend for the win?
Very much so, yeah. It's kind of been our goals just to have a solid day, and he's done a great job. You know, managing his tools inside there, made very few changes on it, and he's been picking up spots every restart, so hoping for more of the same.
All right, just as we said, he's been able to make small gains there on those restarts, Parker.
Kelly, Johnny Kosmeyer is the crew chief for Eric Almirola, and I just asked you, you're big Martin Truex Jr. fans. It's been an up and down day, but no bigger point swing than when he's leading versus Joey Logano.
Yeah, it has been up and down. We got off a little bit in stage 2, but I felt like we had a top 5 car there, and we lost a little bit of track position now, but I think we made the right adjustments, and we'll get back up there.
There you go, guys. Made the right adjustments. He's got to move forward if he wants to stay in this championship hunt.
All 8 of the championship drivers still on the lead lap. The 42, a little worse for wear as he's on the rollback. He'll head back into the garage.
Bank of America gives Matt the power to stay on top of his money, so he keeps Brutus comfortable.
Erica, when was my last transaction at Pupper Pillows?
Okay, here's what I found.
Well, that went by fast. Hey, buddy, want to take a ride to the pet store?
Just talk, type, or tap to view past transactions and more. It's easier than ever with Erica, your virtual financial assistant, only from Bank of America.
McDonald's new Trick Treat Win game. With 1 in 4 odds of winning instantly, you won't need luck. So don't miss out. Huh, winner! Win your share of over 100 million prizes. Play Trick Treat Win.
Race day? I'm making chili.
Nah, hot dog.
Chili.
No. Hot dog.
How about a sub? With chili. Race day calls for a Coke.
Nothing better.
It's tailgating 101.
Track is clean, and they'll go 2 by 2 as we get ready for the restart. There'll be 86 laps to go in this race. We'd mentioned weather, a possibility. Well, I know a lot of you have seen the sun shining once again here at the racetrack, so you never can guess. Our aerial coverage provided by Ally. Looking down on the paperclip, and it's Logano and Martin Truex Jr. Logano on the inside, Martin Truex Jr. on the outside.
The hair starts to stand up on your arms. You just know with 87 to go, there'll be no give and take on this restart.
It's all take as they come back to the stripe. A great restart for Martin Truex Jr. on the outside, Logano on the inside. Brad Keselowski, one of the non-playoff drivers, right there in the mix as he's fighting for that second spot.
41, drive to the bottom. That's going to slow that inside lane down just a little bit. Clint Bowyer's going to try to use that to his advantage.
Brad Keselowski also has that short run speed that the 22 teammate has. He's able to take that position from Martin Truex Jr., who's now battling with Kurt Busch. Little sheet metal traded there.
31 to 14 in the back of the screen. Remember, at the Roval, the 31 was upset. Hey, the 14 of Bowyer.
Yeah, you don't forget about those things.
Side by side for fourth, Denny Hamlin on the inside. As Logano down challenge for the lead.
Locked up the left front tire, getting down in the corner.
Trying to stay off of his teammate.
Oh, man, and he's pushing hard. He's also trying to take the lead. Not going to make it easy here. I love this, though, guys. Teammates, it doesn't matter to Brad Keselowski. He doesn't care he's in the playoffs and Joey Logano is. He wants a win. A win for his team, a win for his sponsors.
A win for the organization, and Brad wants to deliver it.
Brad gets a little
hard into the turn. He goes up the racetrack. They fight door to door as they come down the front stretch.
So hard to race like this. Brad Keselowski trying to be respectful for Joey Logano, but Brad needing the win, won the win, clears him off of 2.
Keselowski out front. Logano running second. Kurt Busch is third.
Truex all the way back to 6th.
That's what these late race restarts do. You'd be running all day long, working yourself to the front like Truex did, and then a few restarts and you're in 6th. I mean, how does that happen? It's so frustrating.
Hamlin's getting aggressive now. Denny Hamlin taking the spot away, trying to take that spot away from the 41 of Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch tried to squeeze him down into turn one. Denny Hamlin was having no part of it. Forced his way in there, made a little contact. Now he's solidly inside the 41. The 41 has to fight because the 18's behind him and the next car behind him that continue to take this spot.
These guys are really pushing their cars hard. Denny down in the corner on the brakes, hard up the racetrack. Take what you need. What you hear from the spotter in that position.
He clears him, so Hamlin up to third. It's Keselowski, Logano, Hamlin, and here comes the 18. Kyle Busch following right in the tire tracks of Denny Hamlin.
Truex trying to get into that corner. Look here, Truex on the curb. Close right there with Kurt Busch. Again, same thing here. Kurt's trying to cut across the nose of 78. He's going to let him have it.
A little bit further back in the field, the 9 car, Chase Elliott in 9th position. Look right here, a little bit of damage. He and Ty Dillon racing together. A little bit of contact off of the corner. Now look at the tire rub on the 9 car.
Pretty severe.
Talked about cut tires, your equipment, managing your equipment. As Kyle Busch easily clears the 11 of Denny Hamlin.
Hand out the window for the driver of the 11. He wants to win the race, but this is for third. And we've seen this. Look, there's still 76 to go. Denny Hamlin knows he wants that position, but he has to continue to save tires. Push too hard, guys, and you will burn those tires up.
Here we go. Let's look at the 9 car. See if we see the evidence. Obviously, all the letters are worn off the left rear tire.
Don't see any smoke anymore, though. The air pressure's come up. Seem to take away, you know, it clearances itself a little bit on the fender, but also as the air pressure's come up, that'll stand the tire, the sidewall of the tire up, take it away from that rub.
Certainly not hurting the speed, and he's putting a lot of pressure on Clint Boyer. Little contact.
Yeah, Clint fought for position with the 31 of Newman, and now Clint's kind of been struggling all day long with speed. Here he is trying to hold off that 9 car.
Those new tires he put on, Steve, they just don't seem to be an advantage.
No, they just are not working like he had hoped. I don't know if it was the cycles or the balance, but
yeah, I think you're right, Steve, on the cycles. After so many cycles, it sort of evens it out.
We saw this in a truck race yesterday, though. Putting on tires really wasn't an advantage.
Those two fighting for position, Boyer and Elliott, 8th and 9th. Chase Elliott trying to take that 8th spot away.
Truex past Kurt Busch there on the right for 5th. Truex after getting shuffled back to 6th. And Newman, man, what a great run he's had all day long.
Just take it strong, good.
Keselowski out front. He has a 1.4-second lead over Logano.
That's the leader, but that second position is starting to heat up a little bit. Kyle Busch, we saw him get by Denny Hamlin. The last couple laps, he's been faster than Joey Logano. You see right here, closing in on his bumper. 71 laps to go. Joey Logano has to decide how hard he wants to try to fight off the 18.
Dave.
Rick, 2 silent drivers. Joey Logano since the restart, nothing about his car not being good. Being told by his spotter that he's better than his teammate leading over the long run. Behind him, Kyle Busch has been very quiet about the 18. No indication that he had found that speed he'd been looking for early in the race. Yet now he drives hard, trying to take second away from Logano.
Is Brad Keselowski not just proven once again why Martinsville is so difficult to win? Nowhere to be found for most of the race. Also started at the back, and now he's up leading this race as we see the 18's going to dive inside the 22. Woo, that's close.
And up the track a bit, maybe a little contact, but the 22 still able to hold off that 18.
Joey giving Kyle little room. Exactly a car width is all he gave him on corner exit.
We've seen Joey, he's going to be aggressive to try to keep this position. I wonder about his car. Is he not, you know, adjusting enough late in this race as this track continues to change to be fast all day long? He was so good early in this race. We've seen it over and over, Steve, how a guy can light it up for 300 laps, but someone else shows up at the end.
Yeah, the balance changes as the pace changes. Even if the lap oftentimes don't get much faster. It seems like everyone naturally attacks the corner more, drives in with more braking force. That changes the grip of the front tires. And I'm going to tell you, as Kyle Busch sees Denny Hamlin grow in his mirror, I think the patience are going to get less and less and less. We talk about the speed here, Rick. It's slow enough you can lean on a guy without wrecking him, Parker.
And, you know, I find it interesting to see Denny Hamlin start to gain on those two in front of him, because I spoke to his spotter, Chris Lambert, and I asked him, you know, what do you observe that makes Denny so good around here? And he said, you know, in the long run, it's because he doesn't overdrive the entry. But then he has this uncanny ability to come late in the race. When it matters, he can really force the entry and brake as late as anyone. And you see him making up a lot of time the entry to the corners right now.
What makes the 11 so good is right here. He enters up the racetrack like the 18, but the 11 has a better front end. It turns down, Rick, and allows him to get the power down. This is going to be a great shot. Watch how the 18 and the 11 enter. The 11 high, he's going to turn down and look to drive underneath the 18. That time he couldn't do it.
Joe Logano doing a really good job of just controlling the pace in the center of the corner. Yeah, the 18 out of the way.
Interesting
Let
move.
the 11 go. He must think the 11's a little quicker. If the 11 maybe can go get the 22, then he can follow him by the 22.
Did the 18 just think, hey, maybe I'm running a little bit too hard here. Maybe I'm running just too. We got a long way to go, 63 laps.
Here's the possibility of that fullback running back situation where the fullback becomes the 11 of Denny Hamlin, and, well, Kyle's going to want to follow right behind him. NASCAR nonstop now.
What average underwear feels like. What Duluth Buck Naked underwear feels like. Duluth Trading Buck Naked underwear. The most comfortable underwear there is. No pinch, no stink, no sweat. Get a pair. Only at Duluth stores and DuluthTrading.com.
Down the backstretch for the final time.
I'm just fulfilling my destiny.
Chase Elliott, 2 wins already in 2018. He's going to win again, this time in Kansas.
That is awesome, man. This is the time of year that counts.
I'm just fulfilling my destiny. 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 I'm just fulfilling my destiny.
It was one of the most unbelievable moments in playoff history. It's when the Vikings will always remember, and the Saints will never forget.
Oh my God!
But Sunday night, they get their shot at revenge. All eyes on the rematch. All eyes on Saints-Vikings on Sunday Night Football.
Stewart-Haas battle between the 14-4 and 10 continuing. And also continuing is Brad Keselowski dominating at 2.2 seconds in front of Joey Logano, who's running second. Denny Hamlin is third. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. all in the top 5.
Getting that rubber down on the racetrack. You see guys moving up the racetrack now. Be able to use that outside line, trying to turn under people on the corner exit. This is a bit of a rebound for Harvick on the right here, battle for ninth underneath his teammate.
Two great battles right here, Junior. This battle between all Stewart-Haas drivers, and then Jimmy Johnson jumping up in the scene. And then on the left side, you got Chase Elliott trying to get by Ryan Newman, racing all over this racetrack.
Rebound for Chase, too. He was fading pretty bad in this stage 2.
Look at that move by Chase. The 31 up the racetrack, Chase accelerated, just drove in there. Didn't even try to make the corner exit so much, just trying to take that spot from Newman. Still Newman fighting hard. Oh, man, it's too much to watch.
Over here. Yeah. 14's going to lose a couple spots here.
Oh,
Chase goes
Elliott.
up.
Yeah, Chase kind of ran up in front of Newman. See what Newman thinks of that going into turn 1.
Newman thinks, I'm going to run on down in the corner and try to race you again.
And Chase knows it. Chase giving him a lot of room. Not wanting any trouble, not wanting to fight.
He does clear him as they come off of the turn. And now Chase Elliott out in front of Ryan Newman. Again, that was the fight for the 7th position. This is heating up for 2nd place. Logano and Denny Hamlin. Hamlin's going to look to the outside. Maybe set up Logano.
Took Denny a long time to get here. Remember him going by his teammate Kyle Busch and there being a few car links. Well, he's finally worked his way up here, running this interesting line on that high entry. low exit, and I think he's saving those rear tires doing that. 22 has not moved off the bottom of the racetrack all day long, rolling that bottom in through the center and corner exit. It's a little tougher on the right rear tire, left rear tire on drive off.
All right, so if he doesn't move off the bottom of the racetrack, does Denny Hamlin have all the right to run into the back of him and bump him up the track?
He won't have to if Denny can set that pass up, that crossover move coming on corner exit. Going in high, crossing over the center of the corner to exit low. He'll be able to drive up underneath that 22 car if he can set it up. Putting enough pressure on him, it's going to come to him.
Well, coming to 50 to go, Keselowski is over 2.5 seconds ahead of this group. So the 11 of Hamlin, he can't wait around long. So to your point, Rick, there may be a time where he does try to move the 22, but it's difficult for Hamlin because there you go, right there. Wasn't able to do it, but it's difficult for Hamlin. He don't want to spend the 22 out. 22 is in the playoffs, 11's not. That's a difficult spot for Denny Hamlin to be in.
I think though, if he knows, maybe I'll tap this 22. Here it is.
Here comes the 11. He gets to the inside of the 22. Joey will have to give him a lane.
I was going to say, I think if he puts them up to him a couple times, Joey might just move on over because he knows that 11 wants by. But
Hamlin fighting for a win in 2018. He's got to get by Joey Logano so he can set his sights on Keselowski. But Keselowski is pulling away while this is taking place. 2.7 seconds now separating them.
Denny wants to get by, but he doesn't want to take off, beat his tires up too badly trying to do it. It's just not going to come easy. 22s, we're late enough in the run where that outside line is back again, Jeff.
Yeah, Joey Logano going to get trapped right here catching Jim Burton. See, he clears the 11. That gives him the ability to go wherever he wants. You're the spotter. Clear, clear, clear. TJ Major's telling him you can go wherever you want. But the 22, Joey Logano, he's got to be thinking, I don't know when the caution's coming out. You want to pit second. You want to pit third. If you get a caution, you come in second, you might win that race off pit road and retake the lead.
Jeff, you don't want to be the caution, though, and if he continues to get in front of the 11 and the 11's faster, the 11 could turn him around.
He could. But again,
right there, giving him pressure hard. I think this is it right here. Joey's going to have to realize the long-term goal. If he races this 11 more and more, he's giving him more opportunity to get to where he can lean on his bumper a little bit harder and harder, put him in a bad position. Move him up the racetrack. It don't take much to spin a car out here.
It's a race to the lap cars. That's what this is. They're looking at these lap cars. It's a race to get there. Be the first guy there so you can pick the lane. Right now, disadvantage Joey Logano.
Yeah, the 23 moves up the racetrack and gives that inside lane to who's ever there, which right now is Denny Hamlin. Hamlin's going to take advantage. He'll take second. And around goes the 14.
Oh, that's huge.
Clint Boyer spinning.
17 cars in the lead lap.
Got any damage, or we just spin? Flat, no damage.
Take a look at the replay here and see what happened to Clint. Just coming off turn 2 down the back straightaway.
48 got us, so we lost the lap.
3 wide here.
Yeah, 3 wide. Suarez in that 19 car.
I think Jimmy
had pitted on lap 399, so he's got a little fresher tires than everybody.
Yeah, I think Jimmy might, expected the 19 to back off there. Thought he might have hit the 19
Looking
too.
low. Inside, 3 wide, you're at the top, 3 wide, you're at the top. One inside, one inside, one inside.
See what happened on the racetrack, and then here's the crew chief, Mike Wheeler, crew chief for Denny Hamlin. He knows his driver was biding time, just got by the 22. Now the question, 42 to go, 50 laps or so on your tires. What do you do? Do you come to pit road? No one's taking right sides today or left sides. You take 2 tires and risk track position. With these yellows, there are currently 16 cars on the lead lap. I think you have to have tires. I know we haven't seen tires move along, but you can be aggressive, you can use them. I think you have to come to pit road if you're leading this race.
Well, that's exactly what Brad Keselowski is going to do, and everyone's going to follow him.
But with that many cars pitting, now I'd be changing my plan. I'd be taking right sides to make sure I'm the first car off pit road, Parker.
And that's been the discussion on the 11 car of Denny Hamlin. They were going back and forth, and Denny just said, I'll do whatever you guys want to do. He just asked for a little bit more speed at the beginning of the run. So we'll see if they put the right sides in here. I believe it will be 4 tires, Marty.
Brad Keselowski hits pit road all day long. They've been a bit looser the longer they run. Roger Penske up in the suites watching down, hoping his driver can get to victory lane. Paul Wolf making the call for no changes except fresh Goodyear tires, Dave.
Third place Logano, loose into the corner. Then it doesn't turn when I get to the center of the corner. He'll take 4. We'll watch the race off pit road.
And Logano outrunning the 2 and the 18 off of pit road. Logano, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, the top 4 coming off of pit road.
Tag.
Toyota, let's go places.
What's the secret to a great steak at home? Ordering it from Outback. Easily enjoy all your favorites when you order Outback delivery or curbside takeaway right now. Outback Steakhouse, Aussie rules.
Kevin here says Mobile One annual protection is proven to protect for 20,000 miles.
It'll save you a lot of time. Dad, with all this extra time.
Sorry, buddy. Kevin and I have a tea time at 11.
20,000 miles guaranteed. Mobile One annual protection.
Some restaurants say you should drink your meals. Well, America deserves better. At Carl's Jr. and Hardee's, choose from a variety of full-flavored all-star meals starting at $5. Get a real meal. Paid for by Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
On February 17th, the stage will be set for racing's greatest day. A day to witness history, to feel the intensity, make lasting memories, and be on the edge of your seat. This is the day you've been waiting for. This is the Daytona 500. The greatest race awaits. Experience the Daytona 500 in person. Guarantee your seats before they sell out at Daytona500.com.
You're watching NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series. It's the first Daytona 500 from Martinsville, Virginia. And definitely tensions getting a little bit higher as we listen into the 14 radio. Just brought out the caution.
We could pit, but what I'm saying is right now, as all the leaders pitted, we could wave here to get our lap back. But won't we get back on the tail? We were just, are you sure? What do you want to do? Just pit.
They pitted, so they're going to race for the free pass, where if they could have stayed out, they'd be instantly on the lead lap with the wave around.
37 laps to go. This is the first race of the round of 8. A win here by a playoff driver, and you advance to the championship 4. Logano and Busch side by side. Green flag back in the air. Here comes Keselowski with a great restart. Keselowski not a part of the playoffs. He is out of the playoffs, but still fighting. He is definitely a factor in this race.
Kyle Busch was able to beat Keselowski off turn 2 to take second place.
And
in the back of the 22.
22, too. The 22 had a great restart. Those guys having great restarts on sticker tires. 18, though, fought hard to get in that second position.
That's where Logano's been so fast all day on these short runs, but Kyle Busch, he's got a fast race car right now as well.
So few laps to go. Everyone aggressive now. A win and you automatically advance.
Oh,
and now Keselowski pushes the 18.
He did. And Truex going to try to make it 3 wide here. Thinks better of it. Logano's happy. Look at this contact.
Here comes the 11. Also, Denny Hamlin working his way back up.
That 22 pit crew, they've gained 8 spots today on pit road. That last one gave Logano the lead. Let's see if he can take advantage of it to get this win.
Brad Keselowski closing back in on the back of that 18 car. Shoved him through the middle of 3 and 4. Surprising, because Keselowski's not a playoff driver. The 18 is, but doesn't matter to Brad.
Remember, Junior, these two drivers don't like each other. They have said it many times that they will race each other as hard as they have to.
Let's see how the 18 feels about that.
AT's got to remember the goal. You do not want to cause a big issue here. You're in a good spot in the points. You want to win this race, but you don't want to get yourself in a caution and give away all those points you've earned.
That's the fight for second. Coming into the picture, the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. Never won in a short track race.
32 laps to go, coming to 31. Brad Keselowski was leading this race, driving away. Now he's trying to chase down his teammate, Joey Logano. Looks like he's doing it.
Logano, Keselowski. Then Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Newman, Harvick, Suarez, Chase Elliott, all in the top 10.
Keselowski clearly faster than Kyle Busch. After that battle, a little friendly wave down the back straightaway. Appreciate you not hitting me too hard.
Yeah.
Wrecking me.
Well, look at this, 78-18. Truex has run him down. Kyle Busch, I think, struggled a little bit. This is a time where he would not be saving. So this is all they got. Both these guys. It looks like Truex has a little bit faster race car. He's putting the pressure on. It's gonna be hard to get by, though.
Those two drivers, part of the big three, in Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr., winningest drivers this year, including Kevin Harvick, part of that big three. And now it looks as though Truex Jr. forcing the issue here. At the end of the season, the 78 team goes away. It's been rumored, and a lot of people suggesting that the 78 driver of Martin Truex Jr. and Cole Purr, the crew chief, are going to go to Joe Gibbs Racing. Now they're racing against what could be a future teammate.
Yeah, look what Truex is doing. He really didn't have the spot, but he keeps showing Kyle Busch, I'm faster. Watch what happens right here. Stays in line, but if you see him get just a little bit closer with some momentum down the straightaway, he's going to stay left. Show Kyle Busch, hey man, work with me, give me this spot. Doesn't mean he's going to give it to him, but it's a good signal from a driver.
And Jeff, just imagine being Martin Truex Jr. Remember that last restart? They got shuffled back. He was running 8th when they came to pit road. Got to a couple positions there, and this last restart, much more advantageous for the 78. So that restart sort of reinvigorated this 78 team with a shot to win once again.
And a battle for the lead. Logano has lost the incredible cushion he had over Brad Keselowski. Keselowski reeling him in, and a fight between these two teammates. Logano, who's in the playoffs, Keselowski not in the playoffs, fighting for the win here at Martinsville.
Keselowski overcooked turn 3 the last time through here, lost the bottom of the racetrack. Look at the roll speed Keselowski has through the middle of the corner.
Almost got into the back bumper of Logano.
And this battle for 7th.
Oh, it's been crazy. The 4 has been hung behind the 31. Kevin Harvick has run out of patience. Chase Elliott moves the 31 up the racetrack.
Take what you need. Let's see what the 31 does here.
Oh, he's going to be Ryan Newman. Cross it back over. Drive inside the 9 in the corner.
Will he get into the side of him?
And Chase likes this outside lane, though. Chase knew if he ever could get in that position, that's really what he wanted. He wanted to be able to just run that upper lane. That's where he's been all day.
With 23 to go, Joey Logano has his work cut out for him because the 2 of Brad Keselowski is there, and he is just waiting, putting the pressure on the 22. One slipped tire, one mistake, one contact with that inside curve, and Brad Keselowski will be going by.
Be interested to see if he'll be as aggressive with his teammate as he was with 18. Logano's so hard to pass, wrapping that apron so tight all the way through the corner. It really doesn't present an opportunity for you to get underneath him on corner exit, even though you can gain on him on corner exit.
Logano has been great at this racetrack in qualifying. For the last 5 races, he was able to win the pole. Didn't win the pole this week, and said that they tried a different strategy, maybe a different plan, because they hadn't won here at this racetrack. Well, now, as the laps are winding down, they're out front. They have a shot at winning the grandfather clock. That is the prize at the end of this race.
And that's all Brad Keselowski cares about. He doesn't care that Joey Logano's his teammate. He doesn't care that Joey Logano's still in the playoffs. Brad Keselowski wants to win this race because he knows behind him, this 18 and this 78. If this 78 gets by the 18, he will be coming. He's been better over the longer run. We still have 20 laps to go as we see the 78 hang a left. Will he get inside the 18?
They're racing everywhere. Battle for the lead, battle for third. Behind the battle for third is an incredible battle for fifth as well. It's nuts. I mean, this race is just crazy. Look behind us.
It's so good. That's the last one in here. We got to go too.
These guys are pushing their cars harder than they have all day long, so those front brakes, you can see the rotors glowing on Keselowski's car in the 22 of Joey Logano. It's who can make the adjustments inside the car. You can turn those brake adjustments and the track bar to keep up with the cars. It starts getting looser and looser and looser on corner entry.
And Rick, I didn't think with as few laps as we had to go when they started that traffic would come into play, but here it is, right in front of the leaders. A single car here will be easy to pass, but as you get farther into the pack, they get 2 and 3 wide, and here comes Brad Keselowski with a crossover. Will it work?
Brad Keselowski, here he comes. Look into the inside of Logano for the race lead.
Wow,
they get into each other. Keselowski trying to stay off the 22.
That outside lane, once again, works on corner exit.
I was so impressed by how deep Brad drove the car down in there without getting loose and backing into the side of the 22 car. He's got another run here. He's going to push him.
Joey's going to have a hard time holding this 2 car off. The 2 car has so much run on corner exit. Watch this run the 2 gets on corner exit. Not that time.
Look at the battle behind him.
78. Here comes Martin Truex Jr. He's going to get by the 18. Lap traffic coming into play there.
Does Truex have enough time, enough speed to catch these guys?
All right, there's the bunny in front of you.
And now Logano, under 15 laps to go. Keselowski, will he get frustrated? Will he punch the 22? Punt him out of the way.
He is driving that car so deep into the corner. It's crazy. Look how far down in the corner and how much he gains on the 22.
Well, Brad's going to make a move. He needs to do it because pretty soon he's going to be playing defense as well as offense. The 78 is closing in, a car length every corner.
It is heating up front.
That's
Less than 14 laps. Now 13 to go.
That's the first time I saw the 2 cars slip a wheel off corner exit. But look at the 22. He's struggling there down into the center.
Keselowski bumped him again.
At some point, I think you'll see the 2 car jump the outside. I think that he goes so fast into the corner, I think he could roll the outside and try to use that grip on corner exit to make this pass. We are getting ready to have a 5-way battle for the lead. They are coming from behind.
Logano, Keselowski, here comes the 78. Martin Truex Jr., the 18 of Kyle Busch. All right there fighting for these top 4 spots. And don't count out the 11, a 5-time winner here at Martinsville.
Logano's going to have to be perfect. The pressure inside that race car, you know if you can win this race, you have a chance to win the championship. It moves you to Homestead. His car is not as fast as the people behind him. He's going to have to be perfect.
I see Brad's car a little weak on corner exit there. Joey was able to drive off on corner exit. Joey with a little higher line, changing his line, maybe helping a little bit. The 78 putting the pressure on the 2.
Here comes the 78. Martin Truex Jr. looks to the inside of the 2.
See if this 2 can get this run on corner exit.
What a drive off by the 78. I was so surprised there that he's able to keep up with the 2 on corner exit. Man, that 78 is so good on the long run. Look at him roll the center.
This battle's going to help the 22. He needs the 2 of Keselowski to fight the 78 to slow him down just a little bit. Because the 78 is not going to be friendly when he gets there. It is not going to be nice. He's going to do what he has to do to win this race. Clear the 2 now.
Less than 9 laps to go, and now no cars in between the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. and Joey Logano. The 78 of Martin Truex Jr. has never won at a short track. This is his best opportunity right here.
He's going to catch 95 in a tough spot. Corner exit.
Really bad spot.
These 2 fighting for a guaranteed spot in Miami for the championship. Logano crossing the stripe, 7 laps to go.
Truex right now, he's looking at the 22, trying to figure out where he's weak. Clearly the middle of the corner is where the 22 is slow. How can you use that to your advantage?
Truex with more speed. Will he be aggressive enough to get by this 22?
Truex going to turn left right here. Good momentum off of 4.
Looking to the inside. Can he make the pass? Will he make contact?
He's there.
A race to the lap car once again. Who can get there first?
Oh, contact made.
Come on, baby, come on.
They're diving into the turn of 3. Truex on the inside, trying to take the lead away from Logano.
Logano trying to run him as tight as he possibly can to make it almost impossible for the 78 to put the power down on corner exit.
78 loose on corner entry right there. Can Joey use it to his advantage? Great job out of lap cars, by the way, getting out of the way.
Side by side, Logano and Truex. And then Keselowski's going to come back into the picture, as is Denny Hamlin fighting back there. Now, 4 laps to go. Logano's holding him up on the outside.
Look at this run the 22 has on the exit of turn 2.
22's holding him so tight on corner exit. Look from this view how tight he's going to hold him on corner exit, not allow him to use the throttle.
He moves up the track, contact again. Logano still up front.
That almost scares me a little bit. That allows the 78 to square up on that rear bumper, just move him out of the way.
He looks to the inside again. Now Martin Truex Jr. setting him up. Coming up on 2 laps of racing to go in Martinsville.
Look at that run on the high groove.
Clear by 3 feet, all clear, 2 to go.
So much pressure inside these cars.
This is an incredible drive by Joey Logano, regardless of the result.
He raced him clean again to the inside. Martin Truex Jr. has the advantage as they come up the turn. He'll see the white flag one more time around. Martin Truex Jr. on the inside, looking for his first short track win, as well as a trip to Miami to try to defend his championship. The 2017 champion, will he get the bumper? Yes, he does. Here comes Logano. Logano on the inside, a drag race, they're sideways, and it's going to be Logano getting the win. Joey Logano fighting back.
Miami, baby.
Truex not happy.
Great job, buddy.
Logano put the bumper to the back of the 78 when they were going through 3 and 4. It moved Truex Jr. up the track enough that he had an opening. And the first thing you heard on the radio, Miami, baby. Logano has secured a spot in the championship 4. This moment presented by Sunoco, fueling victories all season long. The elation of the team knowing what they have just accomplished.
Truex expected him to maybe race him a little cleaner because of how Truex had raced him to the finish. But man, it's a trip to Miami, it's a trip to Homestead, and it's the last lap. It's for a clock.
This is a clock and a championship. Remember, Joey Logano so close to a championship a few years ago. The disappointment, that late race bad pit stop took him out of position. That hurt them. This was a chance to get himself back in that position. We talked about it when these playoff system was created, the situations it would put drivers in. It's going to put them in a position to do things they wouldn't normally do because there's so much on the line in an individual race, more than ever before.
You saw the look on Martin Truex Jr.'s face.
I'd be mad too. Yeah. Right? I mean, you drove the guy clean, you gave him respect, you could have moved him out of the way, and you didn't. And he did it to you. So what does that mean? Remember the Roval. Remember the Roval. The same thing happened. He got taken out coming to get the checker, to get the win.
Joey Logano has stopped in turn 3 while they get the front stretch stage in place. And he's going to jump out of the car as he takes his helmet off. Will it be the typical smile that we normally see out of Joey Logano? He got the win, had to rough a driver up to do it. We'll find out what he's thinking. Marty.
Well, you hear the crowd on the other side of the racetrack Some boos for Joey Logano. A smile on his face, though. Walk us through the last lap and the thought process of the move on the 78, Joey.
Miami. Just thinking about Miami. Thinking about how we can win a championship with this car. And, you know, I knew it was going to be a fun race there. So, yeah, Martin was definitely better. Our car wasn't as good there that last run. And I was just doing all I can to be as defensive as I could. And, you know, we were racing hard. He's getting into my left rear. We were both running hard, as you expect. And then, you know, you just got to expect Martinsville at the end of the race that you're going to have some bumping and grinding there at the end. So proud of this Shell Pennzoil team. Man, this has been a tough season. It's great to get our second win of the year, the biggest win of the year. And now we're off to looking at a championship.
As you were coming down the backstretch, did you know what you were going to do going into 3 and 4 on the 78?
I knew I was going to lay the bumper. You know, we raced really hard here, and you know, he kind of obviously slides up. I don't really blame him just a little bit, but he was not able to clear me there. And just next thing you know, I knew that my one shot was just to try to lay the bumper a little bit. And that's NASCAR racing. That's what the grassroots are. That's what the fans come here to see. And some might not like it, but it's one heck of a race at least.
And you hear the fans cheering, guys. Joey Logano, smile on his face. The one thing we know for sure, Rick, his ticket to Miami is punched.
Well, and you see the thumbs up from Joey Logano, but Martin Truex Jr. thumbs down. Let's hear from him. He's with Parker.
Right, Rick, he was joining in with the crowd booing there. So, Martin, you heard the boos. You heard what Joey had to say. What's your thoughts on that move at the end?
May won the battle, but he ain't win the damn war.
That's it?
That's it.
So he's not going to get there. He's not going to win the championship.
He ain't.
How do you retaliate?
I'm just not going to let him win it. I'm going to win it.
You're going to make it a championship for him?
That's the plan right now.
And anything you want to say to all these fans out here that have come out and seen the show?
Appreciate them being here. They're awesome, man. This place is great. We should be in victory lane right now. But, you know, it's just the way it went today. It didn't work out, but proud of my guys, proud of our team, and you know, everybody said we were out. Said we couldn't run good at Martinsville. We don't run good at short tracks. Our team's shutting down, so we can't make it to the championship 4. Yeah, bring it on. I'll show you. I'm going to show everybody.
Would you have done the same to him in the same position?
I was next to him for 6 laps. I never knocked him out of the way. We were going to race hard for it in my book. And, you know, I cleared him fair and square. We weren't even banging doors for me to pass him. He just drove to the back of me, knocked me out of the way. So, yeah, it's short track racing, but what goes around comes around.
There you hear it, guys. What goes around comes around.
What goes around comes around. And when a championship is on the line, a ticket to that championship 4, you never know what a driver's going to do. We just found out what Joey Logano's willing to do. He puts the bumper to the back of the 78 of Martin Truex Jr., pushes him out of the way. That's right, Denny Hamlin actually ended up second, and Martin Truex Jr. comes home third. The elusive short track win still not able to be captured by the 78 team and Martin Truex Jr. It was Joey Logano who was able to fight all the way to the finish line and get the win.
Victory lane at Martinsville Speedway. Joey Logano has found it. His crew has been waiting for him, and here he comes. Always a couple of sides to these Martinsville stories, Dad. A big hug for his son, who toughed it out there at the end. And of course, your team, as I was walking into victory lane, all about yeah. Martin, not so much. He wasn't happy with you, Joey.
It's just, like I said, it's racing. It's what we got to do to get there. We got to get there first, and we had a great car today. Our pit crew wanted us to race. They're so fast, and you know, some are going to like it. I said haters are going to hate a little bit, but I'm a hard racer, and I don't think that's a secret to anyone. And we're here to win a championship this year.
Joey, how do you race the remainder of the championship knowing that you've dealt a blow like you dealt today?
we're focused ahead right now. We're focused on building a car. Team Pet's did a great job building me a great car for this playoffs here throughout the whole run, and also to come here to Martinsville and finally get the win here. We've led so many laps, qualified so good. It's about time we finally get a win. I don't feel like tracks owe you, but man, we've been so close so many times here to getting that grandfather clock behind you, and man, it feels good. So whatever happens from here is going to happen, but we're just going to focus hard on moving forward right now and building a great car for Miami.
So what about that, winding this old clock back there and putting it somewhere in the house? How's that feel?
Oh man, it's going to be great. Yep, we'll know what time it is. It won't be late anymore, but man, it's so cool. I wish my family wasn't here. My wife and Hudson, they're not here, but hey, wish you were here, but man, what is a cool day. And
yeah, even colder now. Even colder. Got to ask you one more time. Talking to Martin after the race, he said that you may have won the battle, but you're not going to win the war, Joey. How would you respond?
Okay. It's, as expected. We raced hard there, and he raced really clean, and laid the bumper to him, so I don't expect him to be happy. But we got to do what we got to do, and he's going to do what he's got to do, and we'll hash it out, I'm sure, one way or another. But this was our shot. This is maybe our only shot, so we had to make it happen.
He made it happen today in victory lane. Joey Logano on his way to Miami through to the championship 4.
And we saw the Coca-Cola poured over his head. Let's take a look at today's Coca-Cola winning moment for Joey Logano. Pushed to 78 a little bit, coming out of 4, and then got to the inside and was able to outrun the 11, actually, and get to the finish line first. Joey Logano getting his first win at Martinsville. And that signature steering wheel in the air for Logano. 8 drivers started this race with a shot at making it to the championship 4. Well, Joey Logano has solidified that position. Now, the big 3, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, you see the points lead they have over the remainder of this field. One of the names not on this list, who also was fighting for the win here, Denny Hamlin, came in second. He was with Kelly.
Denny Hamlin comes away with a runner-up finish, and you had a front row seat for that drama in those closing laps. What did you make of the people ahead of you and getting in position for this runner-up?
Yeah, it's just hats off to my FedEx team, Wheels and a whole bunch. Give me a great car, one that could win. Just we needed long runs, not short runs. It was obvious we had such a good long run car and was coming there at the end, but these guys were leaning on each other, and looked like a fun battle. I just wish I was a little closer to kind of be able to capitalize on it, but I just got held up there by the 2 in the 18 a little bit. But those guys were racing, especially for something, a big prize. So I had to be patient around him. It just took a little bit too long.
We've been talking a lot about your streak of wins, 12 straight seasons. Give me a sense of how badly you wanted one here.
Bad. It's bad as I've wanted anything. So just we'll look ahead. We got 3 good racetracks ahead of us, and we'll see if we can't get it done.
Thank you, Denny.
And the frustration still for Martin Truex Jr. as he walks away. Now, we saw what Joey Logano was willing to do, but Joey Logano also should know what could potentially happen because he's done this before.
Well, I was trying to figure out what would be the best way to describe it, and Joey Logano did it for me. Martin Truex Jr. raced Joey Logano cleanly passed him in 1 and 2. Joey Logano chose to just hit him in the bumper to pass him in 3 and 4. Every driver has to make that decision. Joey Logano made it. You saw how upset Martin Truex Jr. was. In my mind, this has opened the door wide open to Martin Truex Jr. in retaliation. And if I know the 78, he's not going to do it at Texas or Phoenix, where it's most valuable. He'll wait to Miami. Will he get the opportunity? We'll wait and see. What we do know is Joey Logano will be racing for a championship. It was not without controversy, and Martin Truex Jr. seemed pretty determined to me that he was going to try to win the championship, and the 22 of Joey Logano was not going to have a chance.
All right, Steve, so let's look at it from a fan perspective. Did you enjoy what we saw at the end of the race?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it with whoever won. It was a classic Martinsville race. It had some long green flag runs, some cautions at the end. And in the end, I think Brad Keselowski was very polite to his teammate, Joey Logano. There was moments he could have been aggressive. He did not. He protected the best he could. Martin Truex Jr. got by, and it was an epic short track. Why do we love short track racing? That is why, because you can lean and you can push. It's just a question of, will Joey Logano regret that move? Remember the last time he was aggressive like that, it was with Matt Kenseth, and it was back here where we saw the retaliation. Now we still have 3 weeks to finish out the season.
That we do, and two drivers who have experienced the bumping and banging at this racetrack. Junior, Jeff, did you guys enjoy those last few laps?
Yeah, man, like everybody says, more short tracks. Let's just go to more short tracks. We'll see more of this. I had a good time. It was a pretty good finish. I know a lot of fans are upset about what went down, but there's so much. This is the box that these race car drivers are put in to make it I mean, what matters is a championship. Joey don't have a championship. Joey's trying to get to Homestead. Joey's going to do whatever he can. He didn't wreck him, didn't put him in the fence. I've told Martin forever he's too nice. But I really enjoyed what I saw, and I'd be upset too. And Joey's hope is that Martin never gets that chance to get him back at Homestead. Joey's hope that he goes to Homestead and runs in the front all day long, and Truex struggles.
Well, we're assuming that Martin Truex Jr. is going to be in Homestead with a chance to win a championship. He still has work to do. Joey Logano doesn't, and that's how much is on the line. So, you know, it's not a give me that Martin Truex Jr. will be at Miami, and that's why he's mad. Number one, he drove someone cleanly, and he didn't get it back. And number two, he's still got work to do to go to Miami with a chance to win a championship. I see both sides of it. This system has put so much pressure on drivers. Unlike any system before, never has there been so much pressure on a single race within a season. This isn't their last race of the year. This is within the season that so much is on the line. It just puts these drivers in a tough spot, but it's great for us to watch. The more difficult it is for drivers, the more fun it is for us as fans. We were treated today to some unbelievable high-stake racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Martin did a great job driving him cleanly, but if it's the last lap, last corner, guy can get to your bumper, you got to expect that he's going to give it to you, and he just moved him up the racetrack just enough to get back by him. And again, I mean, it's for everything. It's for that opportunity to win that championship.
I wouldn't want to be running second to Martin Truex Jr. with a few laps to go in the next few weeks.
That's
because
right.
Martin Truex Jr. has been wrecked in 2 races in the last few weeks. Coming to the checkered flag, I would not want to be in front of him.
And Roger Penske throwing the hat on there in victory lane. He'll be celebrating this win with Joey Logano. It's time now to go to Krista, Kyle, and DJ for this post-race coverage.